Welcome to Ducks on the Pod, a baseball podcast with your hosts, Matt Welker and Jake Mosley. Welcome back, everybody, to Ducks on the Pod, the much-awaited episode, the NL Central. Jake, how's it going, bud?
Great. I've obviously been waiting for this for a long time. It's the division we've all been waiting for, so happy to chat about it. I know we'll have some different opinions along the way, so it should be a good episode.
Yeah. I already have an opinion that your jersey's stupid. Just kidding. I really like that jersey.
This one's awesome.
I believe I was with you when you bought it.
You were, yeah.
Didn't you buy that in Chicago?
I did. No name on the back, for those wondering.
It's quite all right. I'm rocking Chris Sabo today. I don't feel like turning around so you to see the name. You're just gonna have to believe me.
I've seen that many times.
Yes, you have, and so is the entire city of Cincinnati. All right, you ready to just jump right into this?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't have to talk about before.
Some teams are rounding into form a little bit with players getting optioned down to the minor leagues, so a little more clarity on who will be making teams, but obviously a bunch of important cuts still coming up. So I don't think we have to spend too much time on that, just kind of status update as of the recording here.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add is what just came through the webs 20 minutes ago. Joey Gallo got cut by the White Sox and just announced that he is going to become a pitcher. I'm excited to see. I wonder if they can put him down as a two-way player, even though he stinks at hitting. But yeah, that's all I got. Anything else that I was going to say is about the Reds, so we'll get into that here soon.
Sounds good. This is the one episode that you can just relate everything back to a Reds player without catching some flack from me. So
I sure
embrace
can,
it, take
buddy.
full advantage.
Oh, we will.
All right, let's get into it.
We're going to get started with the Pittsburgh Buccos, the Pirates. Key departures for this year. They didn't really have a whole lot, but I forced myself to pick some every time. So Connor Joe, one of my favorite players for no actual reason. I just like him. I like his name, but he's also a solid ball player. Then Michael A. Taylor also, he's also a very solid ball player. Good. He seems to switch teams every year anyway, so that doesn't shock me. And then on the hitting side, key additions, we got X-Red, Tommy Pham, DJ Stewart, Adam Frazier. Sorry. What are you thinking about this team this year?
Their bats are underwhelming. I think Brian Reynolds is one of the most underrated players in baseball. O'Neal Cruz is obviously very, very good. Always one of the StatCast darlings, if you will, with his barrel rate and exit velo. So those guys obviously really good. Tommy Pham is good in certain situations. This is probably one of them where he gets consistent at bats. At least he's been kind of in a platoon role for playoff teams. Hell, he might be traded at the deadline again for seemingly like the 7th straight year this year. But then after that, like the rest of their projected starting lineup is not very exciting. You have McCutchen as their 4th hitter, who has to be one of the worst 4 hitters in baseball, if I had to guess.
What's the next one on the next team we talk about?
I know. It's just underwhelming. Like he's in his 38th year season right now. Obviously, he's fallen off a little bit. It seems like last year was a farewell tour in many ways, and now this year he's just running it back. So then at the bottom of the order, they have Ke'Bryan Hayes projected to hit 8th. He's you probably have a little bit more information on him, but it seems like he's just always supposed to be really, really good and never has quite panned out. I think he's very good defensively. It's not that he's a bad player. It's just I think they had high hopes for him, and I don't think they saw him hitting 8th in their lineup in a year where I don't think they'll be like super, super good by any means, especially on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their lineup's weird to me because I do like a lot of their guys. Like I really like Brian Hayes. Um, Joey Bart was supposed to be really good. He hasn't really been very good, but he could potentially do some damage in this lineup. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of first round draft picks, so they've got a lot of talent. Um, but yeah, I agree with you on Brian Reynolds. Very underrated. Um, or at least I feel like he just doesn't get the recognition he probably deserves. Um, Especially with being just under 6 years of service time. Tommy Pham, didn't realize he was 37, but he can still play, man.
It
Like
can.
I remember hearing about how he's a big guy to have in the clubhouse because he is just like constantly motivating everybody, but like almost in like the intimidating kind of way. Like
Yeah, he toes that line, but he brings
yeah,
fire, that's for sure. And he
yeah,
holds
he's
people
probably
accountable.
yes, he's probably a guy that you don't want to disappoint, or else he'll kick
Right.
you in the side of the face. Um, so I feel like people like a lot of young guys probably start to work a lot harder just being around him. So that'd be kind of cool to see if any of these Pirates guys uh, get any better because of that. Um, Outside of that, it's hard to hate on Andrew McCutcheon. I mean, which it's funny that we're like acting like he's so old, but he's only a year and a half older than Tommy Pham. Uh, but 15 years of service time, almost 16 now. That's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I agree with you. The back half of the lineup's not the best. I was just kind of saying Joey Bart can figure it out, but he hasn't yet. He's power ranked pretty low too. I don't know what they're going to get out of DJ Stewart. He's probably just going to be like your typical swinging for the fences first baseman. Um, Nick Gonzalez is still relatively new. Brian Hayes could blow up, like we said, and then IKF at shortstop, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I've never been a huge fan of him. He's definitely more of a defensive shortstop than anything else. But yeah, their lineup is very underwhelming. I don't hate their bench by any means. Like obviously it's their bench, so we're not going to get crazy into it. But I'm fairly certain Endy Rodriguez, when he was still listed as a prospect, basically said he could play any position on the field. I don't know if they're just limiting him to catcher because he's their only catcher, the only backup catcher on their roster. But I'm fairly certain that guy can pretty much play anywhere else in the field. So that could be fun. And he's a switch hitter, so they'll probably be playing around with him a lot. Then they brought back Adam Frazier, ex Bucko, but he's supposed to be playing the bench as well. Do you have? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you kind of nailed it with one of your initial points was like, there's a lot of first round draft picks on here. It's just they all seem like role players. Like none of them are like really that good. Like McCutcheon was incredible for a lot of years. Don't get me wrong, but on Fangraphs he's projected for a .1 WAR right now. That is replacement level baseball from your four hitter.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't seem like any of these guys who were first round picks have really lived up to their potential, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they need, one, two, maybe three of these guys to actually cross that threshold of like you're a difficult out, you're a feared bat in order to really lengthen this thing up. Because right now, once you get past the first three, I'm not scared of anybody in this lineup.
No. No, like all those guys can make noise, but I'm not like actively like, oh shit, Brian Hayes is coming up. Like,
Yeah.
or even like Kutch. Like
Also,
I respect the hell out of the guy, but
I'm a big
good.
ballpark person. Like
Oh,
their left field is entirely too deep. There's zero power to left field, and their lineup has one, two, three, four, five, six righties in it, and none of them have like insane power to where the ballpark
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think their
One of the
offense
greatest parks
is.
in the league, though.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. Like don't
If
change
not number one.
anything about like don't move
Yeah,
anything
but who cares
except
about
like the
left
left
field?
field wall in. Like
Center and right field is what makes PNC so cool. So cool.
exactly. Like
I don't even
move
know
the
what
left
left
field
field looks
wall
like.
in. They have like that weird like 410 gap to left center by the bullpen. It's kind of similar to Boston's like little triangle out there in right center, except there in PNC it's in left center. It's just a
Yeah.
huge, like almost triples gap in left center, which is a little bit weird. It just zaps power, and like to not have somebody who from the right side of the plate can really like drive the ball out,
Oh
like
yeah.
regardless of weather, regardless of ballpark. I think it. I don't think their lineup is built to succeed where they play most of their games.
No. I legitimately don't think I've ever looked at what left field looks like in this stadium. Just because the view in center is awesome. You got the bridge right behind it. Right field looks awesome as well. You got all the buildings behind it. I feel like I've just never looked to the left side.
You can squeeze some home runs, cheap home runs out like right down the left field line, I think, because it comes in a little bit. But once you get to like straightaway left field, like that's a deep wall. And the wall's short
Mhm.
too. So like there are like home run robbery opportunities, not that it affects anything over the lawn
Yeah, it looks like it's
season,
probably
but
6-ish feet. Like that could
yeah.
definitely be. We got to get out to PNC one of these days
I
and
know. I've never
go
been.
watch a
I would
game.
love to. That in San Francisco are probably the two
Yeah.
stadiums I haven't been to that are top of the list. We should
Yes,
go this
I would
year.
say those are definitely up there, and I think Petco, the Padres, is up there as well for
Yeah,
me.
I would love to go there. Love to go to Seattle too. Love that ballpark.
Yeah, let's just name every ballpark and say let's
I
go
know.
there. Do you have anything else to add for hitting?
Not for hitting.
Okay,
Move on.
I don't really either. The only like it's just to your kind of point, like nobody's really. I don't know who's gonna like carry this team. Like O'Neal Cruz is great. He's an absolute monster. Hits the absolute shit out of the ball. But I am excited to watch him in center field for a full season, and just to see what kind of stuff he can do out there because he's still pretty quick too. Even though he's a big boy, but he still can move. All right, I'm ready to go to pitching if you are.
Yeah, lead us off.
All righty. So key departures really only one. It's Aroldis Chapman out of the bullpen. I don't even know why he was there in the first place last year, but they also added Andrew Haney, who will be slotted into the fourth slot in the rotation. And then they also added 3 middle of the pack relievers that will just be mostly innings eaters. But then they also added, I forgot to mention Spencer Horwitz for fielding, but he's currently hurt and had surgery. So I don't know how long he's supposed to be out. I didn't really look it up, but he will be out for a while. I believe he had wrist surgery and just had it last month. So I would assume that he's going to be gone for quite a bit. But as far as their staff, like their rotation's awesome. Well, at least the top 3, I should say. Andrew Haney grades well, but like we were talking offline before this, I just for some reason don't like the guy, and I'd love to bet against him. But yeah, the three-headed snake of Skeens, Keller, and Jared Jones is quite the trio. Obviously, Skeens is already becoming a household name and possibly the best pitcher in the league. Like
I
he's
was gonna
just
say, do you think
absolutely
he's the
crushing.
best pitcher in the league right now
I
already?
don't think I want to see how these 2 new pitches he has um, factor in. Like if is it going to be too much tinkering with pitch selection to where it messes with him, or if it's just he's just adding 2 new elite pitches that are going to make people look even dumber against him. Like he's just a fun guy because it's rare that you see somebody come through the minors that quickly and then also just absolutely dominate.
Oh, they should
Um,
let him hit. He hit
yeah,
tanks
he could probably
in
hit tanks.
college.
Yeah, I was happy to see though that they brought him up uh, as early as they did. So he wasn't on the team for opening day, but he did get the 1 year service time because I think it's like 179. Once you hit that number, it counts as a full season. That's if you guys aren't aware, that's how the service time manipulation goes. It's like 3 weeks to a month or something like that. If you bring somebody up after that, it doesn't count as a full season. Blah blah blah. I was happy that they did it before that point because it just shows that ownership of teams aren't all huge assholes and will actually call somebody up when it makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
this
he
team needs a little bit
dominated
of
from pitch
goodwill
one.
too.
Yeah. Oh,
Just like
dude,
you
the
have to
Pirates get
attract
such a bad
people.
rap.
Exactly. Like you have to attract people to your organization somehow. Like if the organization's willing to spend the little bit of extra money earlier on you, it goes a long
Mm-hmm.
way. Players mention that all the time in their favorite organizations, like how they're treated. They don't like, and why would you like organizations that toe the line of unethical and not trying to win games just to save a buck? So good for them
Yeah.
for clearly doing the right thing. He should have been on the roster probably
Mm-hmm.
on opening day. He was new, so like it kind of makes sense. But yeah, shout out to them for doing the right thing and not
Yeah.
just
And I don't.
being an owner and trying to make money.
Yes. I don't know exactly when Jared Jones got called up, but he's in the same boat. Just
Mm-hmm.
1 year of service time. But those two are very fun to watch with given how young they are. Skeens is almost 23. Jared Jones is like 23 and a half. Like that should be very fun. I hope that they can find a way to keep them long term. I feel like they're probably only going to keep Skeens long term and probably trade Jared Jones at some point. But I don't know. I mean, we've got at least 5 more years with them. Hopefully, they don't trade him before then. Or, I mean, they're going to have to trade him at some point, but to get any sort of value off of them. But we should see them in a Pirates uniform for at least the next couple of years.
Yeah, hopefully they learn something. Since it's kind of the last time that they've been like competitive because they built this team the exact same way, where the lineup is kind of but then their starting rotation is incredible. So like back in
Yeah,
2017, Garrett Cole was still on the Pirates, so kind of taking us back to that era when they were like
yeah,
wild card caliber team, right? They had Jamison Tyone, who's still around, pretty good pitcher. He was a top prospect. They had Tyler Glasnow at the same time. Um, Ivan
I
Nova, who was
forgot about
supposed to
that.
be good. Like they had a stud pitching staff back then, and then their offense, like a bunch of like once again pretty okay guys, but nobody really knocks your socks off a whole lot. Like they had Andrew McCutcheon, Starling
Kutch
Marte,
in
who
his
are
prime.
good. Yep. And then Josh Harrison, actually in 2017, just the roster I'm looking at right now, he was the only all star on the team. So like it's
Cincinnati guy.
just he is, yeah. Shout out UC. But then like Jordy Mercer as a shortstop, David Freese, the ghost of David Freese, after his prime with the Cardinals, as their third baseman, like just some really weird parts that were getting way too many at bats for them probably. And it seems like we're in a similar position today where we have this stud starting pitching staff and like we're
Mm,
semi competitive because of it. Like, let's figure out how to lock these guys up long term, potentially save a little bit of money by doing it early, and let's get some offensive pieces to help them out because you
yeah,
can't continue to have just like half of a team and expect to be anywhere. So hopefully they learned something from the
yeah,
last go around because I mean their development is good. The retention and ability to spend any money to supplement the talent that you have is non-existent.
yeah. When even in looking at prospects, they have four in the top 100, but they only have two that are position players. They're ranked 43rd and 82nd, and they're both shortstops. They've got multiple positions listed, but the one guy at the 82 spot, Termar Johnson, he's not supposed to come up till next year. And then Connor Griffin, I think I said he was like 17 or something like that. He's not supposed to come up for another 3 years. So it's not like they've got studs waiting in the wings to come up. So they're gonna, if they want to compete in this division that seems to be changing its landscape, which they could with how good their rotation is, and they've got Bubba Chandler and a guy named Thomas Harrington coming up probably this year. Like they have the chance to have an unbelievable rotation, but to your point, they're just going to have a dog shit offense, and it's not going to be. It's going to be hard for them to win games. They're going to win games like 2-0.
Yeah, and then we roll into the pen too, kind of segue into that portion of the team as well. Like their pen's not, I don't think they're good at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
David Bednar was good. He was absolutely atrocious last year,
Yeah,
and they didn't do anything to even attempt to find a different closer. So you
no,
might have a lead in the sixth, seventh inning, um, but you're not going to be blowing many people out with this offense, and this pretty bad bullpen's going to have to hold on for dear life.
Yes. Yeah, they don't have anybody hurt, right? They
They have
do
one
have
pitcher hurt,
Moretta.
Johan Oviedo, but he's primarily a starter. He did get Tommy John, so
Yeah.
who knows how he comes back. And then they have
Yeah.
your dude Moretta, kind of same boat, but
I
I don't.
hated that guy when he was on the Reds.
Yeah. Oh, he was
He was
good for
so
the
bad for
Pirates
us, and then
when he pitched for him,
and
but
then he got traded and was unreal.
yeah,
Because I remember laughing when they signed him because I was like, good luck. But then he was really good for him, so I was eating my own words. Trying to think if there's anything else I really need to say about this team. I'm excited for their future. I'm not necessarily excited for them this year. But what I kind of already alluded to, like this division's pretty wide open. I think one team it's theirs to lose, but we'll get into later. But I feel like any team in this division could win.
not this
So
team.
Yeah, not this team though.
Not this team.
I mean, maybe they could. I don't know.
No, they can't. Don't lie to yourself. They'd have to overcome the other 4 teams.
Yeah, but none of the other 4 teams are like studs.
I agree.
It's not like they're trying to beat the Dodgers.
I think this
Oh,
division is
we're getting
more
ahead of
open.
ourselves, but continue.
Yeah, I think this division's a lot more open than like Vegas thinks, or like a lot of people throwing out projections thinks. And we'll kind of get into that as we go along
So
here.
it's coming
But
from you too.
I know. We'll get into that as we go along. But I don't think the Pirates have enough. Like I still like they're pitchers, right? In Skeens and Jared Jones. Like I still think they realize they're not going to be a super competitive team yet, and therefore like they'll probably still have a little bit of training wheels on. Like don't want to burn these guys out either. So
Yeah.
I could just see them if they're in like 4th or 5th place in the division. Once you get into August, like the wheels are probably going to fall off here because at that point you're not playing for anything. There's just too many
Yeah.
teams. I don't see this team getting in a position where they're buyers at the deadline necessarily. Not that it can't happen. I just don't think it's even close to being the most likely scenario.
Yeah. So to your point, yes, I think they have the longest shot to win the division. Like even I think the Cardinals have a better chance at doing it than them, but I don't know. I mean, maybe they could do it on the backs of their pitching, especially if they call out these 2 starters, which would be interesting if they do, because then all 5 of their rotation would be righties. So that would be kind of fun. But I don't think that they would do that with Andrew Haney. So probably only one gets mixed in.
Yeah, I'd agree.
They did just sign him, but yeah.
I wouldn't be
Right,
overly shocked if Tamar Johnson finds his way into major leagues a little early this year at some point, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to push them. But if they're remotely close, he might be worth a look to take over one of these like back of the lineup spots because that dude can hit.
Yeah. What's crazy too is that like they're of their starting 9, only 2 of them have options left too. So if they're going to be making changes, they're going to be more than likely permanent changes.
One of those 2 is Brian Hayes, who you think is very unlikely to be doing that. No. It's Nick Gonzalez or a bench piece.
Yeah, it's probably Jared Triolo, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or they'll just like cut Adam Frazier.
Right.
All right. Are you good with the Pirates?
I'm good. Good luck, Buccos.
Yep. All right. Moving on to the best team in the MLB. We finished 4th in the NL Central last year solely because of all of our injuries that we had. I'm saying we because I'm on the team. But yeah, so key departures. We did trade away Jonathan India, but obviously we got somebody else in return, which I'll be talking about in a second. And there's not really much else as far as bats go. Luke Maley didn't get re-signed. She signed somewhere else, but I don't remember where it is. But then as far as key ads, the biggest one, Terry Francona, which I love the signing. I would assume you do as well. I haven't asked you about that really, but I love the moves that the Reds have made for to get additional bats. Brought in Austin Hayes, who had a down year last year, but had a kidney infection all year. We also traded to get Gavin Lux. Traded away a pitcher that was mostly our setup guy last year to get Jose Trevino, who's going to end up being our opening day catcher because Tyler Stevenson got hurt. But I really like our moves. None of them are like jumping off the paper moves, but they're solid moves, and I'm excited to see this team. I think that we're getting criminally underrated. Could just be a homer move. I don't know yet, but we'll find that out later. I'm going to talk less about the Reds, and I want you to get after it
Okay. Yeah.
because I don't want to
So
be crazy biased and have you yelling at me. So I
that's
will
fine.
jump in, but I'll wait till you do it
You
first.
you can jump in. I think you're on the same page here. So doing the prep work for some of these shows, like going into Baseball Savant, you find some weird things. And I already thought the Terry Francona signing, like even though we didn't cover it in episode 0 because he's not a player, it might be the biggest move of the offseason. I know that is a little bit contradictory to how we talk about managers and our thoughts that like managers really aren't all that important, more of like a
Yeah.
therapist role. But Terry Francona, I think, bucks that trend. And I think he is and proven to be a very, very valuable piece to your franchise. So I think Terry Francona is the best offseason transaction in the MLB this year, not named like
Hell
Juan
yeah.
Soto. Just the value that he brings to the team, especially this Reds team, is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to watch it because I think it's going to be an exciting brand of baseball. Obviously, you have Elly De La Cruz, he can do absolutely anything. That's not a surprise. It's not a hot take or anything. Like he is capable of the whole world within the game of baseball. However, when you think about Terry Francona's managerial style, he puts things in motion. It's a lot of kind of organized chaos. So just to bring up kind of his previous stints, when he got to Cleveland, he ran a lot more than the average MLB manager. So his rate plus, which kind of makes everybody equal to the point where if you're over 100, it means that you're running more than average, right? His rate plus on stolen base attempts in his 11 years at Cleveland was over 100 in 10 of those 11 years for stealing second base and stealing third base all 11 of those years. So there's going to be a lot of speed. David Bell,
Yeah, we are
just a
already
point
stealing
of
bases like crazy.
contrast. Well, David Bell was pretty average in terms of his own tendencies. The last couple of years, it boosted up a lot. A lot of that has to do with Elly De La Cruz.
Yeah,
but having
and our
Terry,
first base coach is big on that too. He was like the running game coordinator. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, well, having Terry Francona come in and like, there's going to be a lot of pressure on opposing team defenses here because he is going to run just naturally more than David Bell. He also does a ton of sack bunting. His sack bunts were over the 100 rating in all 11 years that he spent in Cleveland as well. So I'd expect to see a ton of runners in motion, whether that's steals, hit and runs, manufacturing stuff. It's just forcing a lot of extra action, which we don't see in baseball. It's coming back a little bit, but we don't see it at the rate that Terry Francona does. So I think that's going to be very exciting, but I kind of did a double click into that as well. My favorite bet of the year that I found so far, Elly De La Cruz over stolen bases. So
what's it set at?
It's set at 52.5 on FanDuel right now.
Really? He had
Yes,
67 last year.
67 last year. And
That's
I expect
crazy.
him to get better because like the strikeouts have to come down at some point.
Yeah. He's already kind of showing in spring that he changed his stance a little bit. I guess it allows him to get through the zone faster, but then also more controlled to the point where like he has just that slight little bit extra time to make swing decisions. And with him being so tall, like he's got to move his bat in a much different vertical space than someone like Matt McClain does. And I guess this swing change, I forget exactly what was changed in it, but it's been helping him out a lot, and it's shown in his spring stats so far, which he's been hitting the absolute shit out of the ball in spring.
Yeah.
Like I think it was his first two at bats of our first game. He hit a lefty home run and then a righty home run. It was awesome.
To kind of keep going down this running path and what I expect from the Terry Francona led Cincinnati Reds. If you look at the starting catchers in the division, obviously not the Reds, their pop times, average pop times. Out of the 83 qualified catchers last year, William Contreras was the best starting NL Central catcher. He was ranked 37th. So in the 55th
This is
percentile.
pop time or
pop time.
total rank?
Right. No, pop time. So the Cardinals, we'll get to them obviously in a second here, but Ivan Herrera ranked 62 of 83. That's in the 25th percentile. Not good. Joey Bart, starting catcher for Pittsburgh, ranked 69th of 83, and Miguel Amaya was 79th of 83. That's 5th percentile pop time. Like, this is a team with speed in a division where most of their games are coming against catchers who aren't particularly adept at throwing out runners and give you just that extra like half second. We obviously have the base paths that shrunk before last year, which led to a lot more steal attempts. And then on top of that, of the top 8 pitchers who have given up the most run or the most bases above average, I filtered just on like 500 stolen base attempts, which just gets rid of relievers. Really,
how deep you're going in on this.
Yeah,
I love it.
Of those top 8 pitchers, 4 of them are starters in the NL Central. So 2 with the Cardinals and 2 with the Pirates. So
what was this again? Like allowed stolen bases?
So bases like given up more than expected because of like running and time to the plate. It factors all that in, but total bases given up over expected, which is crazy that it's just a perfect storm of we're going to try to run. We have a roster that has run. We have arguably like one of the most talented and most athletic specimens on our team, who our whole team and our identity revolve around, able to run. And then we also are playing against teams with bad catchers. And there's a couple like plus matchups where 4 of the 8 slowest pitchers and easiest pitchers to run on are in your division. So there's going to be ample opportunity. I would be taking over stolen bases on any Reds player that they'll let me, to be honest with you. It's the bet I'm most excited for over any that I've seen throughout this entire divisional preview.
What if they put out a Christian Encarnacion Strand over stolen bases?
I would take. Well, he lost weight, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 20 pounds, something like that.
There you go. I'd take the over.
Him and Candy both lost weight.
So the 4 pitchers that I was talking about, 4 starting pitchers within the NL Central that are terrible at holding on runners. Sonny Gray ranked 4th, really? Giving up -9 bases prevented. Andre Palante, also with the Cardinals, is number 6. And then Mitch Keller and Bailey Falter are 7 and 8, both of the Pirates.
Yeah. I wonder, though, because I feel like I could be wrong on this, but I feel like the Brewers ran a whole lot last year too. I almost wonder if some of the bases allowed, if that came because of playing the Reds 13 times, playing the Brewers 13 times.
Nope. This is looking at like lead distance, whether it's a stolen base attempt or a stolen base situation, outs created, time to the plate. Yeah. Those types of metrics. Right. It has nothing to do with the actual like other teams.
The player itself.
Correct.
Well, hell of a deep dive, brother.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. It's Reds related.
I do.
But, I think like if we just circle back to the team, right? Like TJ Friedl, Matt McClain, and Ellie De La Cruz are all base stealing threats. Ellie De La Cruz is going to bat 3rd this year. He bat mostly 2nd last year. So he
Just
might
because
have a
McLean was
couple
hurt. But yeah.
fewer opportunities to steal just with potentially more traffic in front of him, and also maybe being in a position where you get worked around a little bit more if first base is open, for example. But I expect the improvement in his offensive game to kind of outweigh the loss of stealing opportunity. Plus, like we said before, he stole 67 bases last year, and the over unders
Mhm.
at 52 and a half. Like, that is miles away from where I think it is. And I think that he'll have even more of a green light to run this year than he did last year.
That's just such a crazy line. I wouldn't think that they would set it that low. I mean, the guy just stole
Mm,
67.
yeah.
I'm curious to see then what Acuna and Shohei's are set at. If they just generally set them low or what. But
My
um,
assumption is it bakes in like a little bit of potential injury risk. Just stealing
yeah,
bases is not friendly. Like, a lot of people get injured all the time stealing bases. So it's probably a hedge on that. It's a hedge on, like, will he run every single second that he has the opportunity to? Like, 67 bases is
yeah.
still a
Like
ton
people
of
will be more
bases.
careful for him. Oh yeah,
Right. So that's my deep dive on kind of how I envision this team shaping up, and how they kind of use the talent on the team. Besides that, it's very platoony, which I know you're well aware of.
I
Like,
hate.
after you get past the first three hitters, like, this is where we're going to disagree. I don't think the Reds are very good. I don't have faith in anybody on this team. Four down, so Austin Hayes, Candelario, Lux, CES, Fraley, Tyler Stevenson when he's good, in there is good,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
we can loop him
I
in
was gonna say,
there.
don't you be lumping Trevino in
But
there.
no, I would never. But it just seems like a lot of role players, and that seems like a lot of at bats where there's
Yeah,
potential outs. And, like, I don't think you're going to get the same sort of year from Santiago Espinal as you did last year. Like, that kind of came out of nowhere. It seemed like, I
yeah.
don't know. Terry Francona's
Did
already
he?
come out saying that he's going to ride the hot hand and put whoever's the hottest behind Ellie De La Cruz, which means you're going to have a
Yeah,
cleanup hitter, like, with an undefined role, which I'm not a fan of. I think you have to do that in the Red situation, just because you don't have like a big name like feared bat in the rest of the lineup. Like, it's the only solution.
yeah,
It means a lot to me when Terry Francona is coming out and saying that, hey, a lot of our lineup, we're just going to have to play hot hand. It's a little
yeah,
worrisome about the roster construction.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely room to improve pretty much everywhere. But I mean, it obviously it's probably just because I am a Reds fan, grew up here. But like I, as you already alluded to, disagree somewhat with what you just said. Like I don't necessarily have faith and trust in that bottom six, but like I can see scenarios for all six, and which I'm using Tower Stevenson, not necessarily Trevino, um, as guys that are going to come through clutch. Like Candy's been hitting the ball well in spring training. CES lost some weight. He's been hitting nukes. I'm very curious to see at the end of the year what position Gavin Lux plays the most, because in a lot of our recent spring training games he's been playing left, which I don't know why left, but because I would assume Austin Hayes is going to be your everyday left fielder. And if there is somebody that takes that spot, it's probably Spencer Steer whenever he comes back and healthy. Um, so just Lux playing left is kind of weird, but I also don't know how he's going to do it third. Like with the Dodgers, he was getting in his mentals playing shortstop so much that they swapped him and Mookie Betts so that he played second and Mookie played short. And then Mookie was terrible at shortstop, so he went back to shortstop. And it's like we need. I don't really care who plays what position. That's one part of this team that I love is that everybody can play multiple positions. Like obviously outfielders can pretty much play all three spots, but like Candy can play first and third. Lux can play second, short, third. Probably any of these guys can probably play first too. But like CES, he's listed as DH, but he can play third. He can play first. Like Ellie, you could probably put in the outfield no matter what. McLean can play anywhere. Like there's so much versatility on this team. I love. And then you even got guys like Santiago Espinal who can play outfield, any infield position. Like, I love the versatility of our team, but to your point, we don't just have like a steady power guy to help drive in Friedel, McLean, Ellie. So I when I hear that and I see that and I say that, like, I get why our record is projected as low as it is,
Did
but
I sell you?
we finished. No, no, I get where the sentiment is coming from. I just think it's very wrong. Like, we had a better record than that last year, and we didn't have our two-hole hitter the entire year. Friedel only played like 60 games and was coming back and forth from injury all the time.
What are you
Which
projected
Ellie had
at?
a great year, but I think it's 78 even. Where's that tab at? My camera's blocking my tabs.
So
74 now on Pacoda.
okay. I agree with you. I think the Reds are better than they were last year. Just getting Francona, as I mentioned, but also Matt McLean back, and then improvement, you would think, from Ellie De La Cruz. Again, Friedel was hurt a lot. Like, I don't see how the Reds possibly are worse than they were last year. So
Yeah,
I
it's not
think
like anybody else in the division got crazy good to where they're just going to beat up on
correct,
us.
correct. Uh, yeah, I'm with you. I think they're better than their projection. I'll decide once I go through the rest of these teams and see if you sway me at all, um, to see where we kind of like rate them out at the end of the year. But yeah, I would take the over on 74 wins without thinking twice about it.
Yeah, I just don't, because I feel like of the Pacoda rankings, like, I feel like that one is, and it's again probably just because I'm a Reds fan, but I feel like that's the most disrespectful standings prediction that's out there. Like, of the 30, I mean, not like I'm
Yeah,
actually disrespected by it, but like, I don't understand where that's coming from.
yeah, that number's low. The overall sentiment, I think, is still fairly accurate. I think you got a little bit of Homer just thinking that
I mean,
you
probably, but
you just think best case scenario is more likely than worst case scenario, when worst case scenario is your 4 through 9 hitters all stink. I think that split is a lot closer to 50-50, I think, than you do. Like, there's a real chance that Carlos Encarnacio Strand just is bad at baseball.
should call Carlos.
I might have, yeah, that sounds like I did. That's not what I meant. Christian. Like
uh,
Gavin Lux, like the Dodgers moved on from him for a reason. And then the guy that they prioritized over him just got
yeah,
sent to the minor
just got
leagues.
optioned.
So that's worrisome. I do think Gavin Lux like could potentially have like Scooter Gennett type energy in Great American, just being a lefty hitter. Like, he might find a little bit of a power streak that might not be possible in Dodger Stadium
Yeah,
potentially. Jamer, I think Jamer looks bad more often than he looks good, although he can get hot. Austin Hayes,
true.
you mentioned, really good player, I think, but he had all the issues last year health wise. Who knows what his first year back looks like, especially when you're getting
Yeah.
consistent at bats in like the middle of a lineup trying to push for a playoff spot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Jake Fraley's up and down. Like, even Tyler Stevenson has had like injury issues, and he's been hot and cold,
Our whole
and always
team
seems
has
like he should have
injury issues.
more power than he does. And I don't know. I just see
Yeah,
ways that like every single one of these guys in the back end, middle to back end of the order, um, end up being bad, and not as many ways that they all end up being good.
yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me because we were insanely hurt last year, but then they're projecting us to finish worse than we did last year. While the Brewers got worse, Cardinals got worse, Pirates got a little bit better, but not a whole lot. And then you
I
guys
don't. Yeah,
obviously got better, but I don't think your pitching really changed. Like,
we'll get there.
I don't know. I don't get it. Um, but yeah, to
Well,
your Dodgers point with Lux, though, I would assume that means Tommy Edman plays more of the infield, and they
yes,
leave Outman or I can't think of the guy's name right now, but probably leave
Chris
them in the
Taylor.
outfield. No, not Chris Taylor.
just can't believe they picked him
Um,
over.
yeah, he's probably just locked in there for now. Um, so I don't really have a whole lot to add more for hitting. I guess I'll also mention that we do have three infielding prospects in the top 100. We got number 83, 90, and 91, respectively, in Sal Stewart, Cam Collier, and Edwin Arroyo. Um, they're projected to all not come up until next year. We don't really need them, but if we get into injury situations again, they may be getting the call up, which they've all been playing fine. I don't have their spring training stats off the top of my head, but I know Sal Stewart is like a protege of Manny Machado, so that'd be pretty fun if that comes to fruition and we have a Reds fan in Manny Machado.
You have Novelli
But
Marte
our
too, who's not
bench,
a prospect anymore, but an option on the infield as well.
don't talk about my dude. He's coming back. Yeah, he's not a prospect anymore because he's played enough. But
Well, you didn't
he's
mention
coming
him as a
back. He's going to be our
solution.
4-hole hitter. Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you. He's going to come back. He's going to be a stud. And I have more faith in him than Will Benson. I'll say that.
Wow.
Although I do love Will Benson as a personality. Hate that he strikes out every at bat. But all right, we'll move on to pitching here. I don't know if I would say that this is our strength, but I feel like a lot of people could argue that our starting rotation is our strength. With Hunter Green putting up close to Cy Young stuff last year, Chris Sale was just too good. No chance he wasn't winning it. But Hunter Green has shown and proven now that he has what it takes to be that caliber of a pitcher. In trading away Jonathan India, we got Brady Singer. Nick Lodolo has a lot to prove. When healthy, he is insanely good. And then Nick Martinez, who I think is the only person in the league that accepted their qualifying offer last year. I don't know how we're going to use him. I would assume at least at the start of the year, he'll start in the bullpen. Or I'm sorry, in the rotation. Especially, which is what is kind of confusing to me because he was really good for us in both roles last year, both in the rotation and then also in the pen. But you've also got Rhett Lauder, who I think started 7 times last year at the end and was unbelievable. I think he had a 1-something ERA. It was like crazy. So I just don't really understand exactly what our plan moving forward is with the rotation, especially because a lot of these guys are homegrown and have longer contracts. Like Nick Martinez, obviously right now is only slated to be with us for 1 year, but I would assume we try to extend him if we can. But we've got all these. We've got Rhett Lauder, who, like I just said, is kind of already proved himself. Chase Burns, who people are saying could be last year's Paul Skeens, not necessarily as far as skills go, but he is very good. And a lot of people are saying that he could come up this year and just be already ready to put guys down in the MLB. And then Andrew Abbott rounding out the 5th spot in the rotation, which I'm perfectly fine with. He's not a guy that blows people away, but he's a very steady back end of the rotation kind of guy. Like of our power ranks, we got 22, 51, 74, 108, and 100. Like, that's very good.
Yeah, I'd say that is the strength of your team personally, outside of Ellie. So, I think the rotation's good. I don't think you can ever have enough starters, especially with a level of like injury and significant injury like Tommy John is a year minimum, really. So it's an insurance to have a guy like Nick Martinez, who's been nothing but dominant since coming back from Japan 3-4 years ago. And he's 35. He's been around a little bit. Like, I'm sure he is perfectly fine going to the bullpen if that's what you need. And next thing you know, you have he could be a setup guy. Like, it doesn't necessarily pinhole him into being a long reliever. If he's just a very valuable piece of your pitching staff who just, if you need an out, you can go to him any day of the week. Um, then
Mm-hmm.
that's a very significant role on a team, especially one that's competing for the
Yes.
playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a good issue to
Um,
have. I wouldn't be surprised if like those are the first types of guys who get traded at the deadline. If you need an offensive piece, you're going to have to part ways with one of these good young pitchers, most likely. The good thing is the Reds probably get to
yeah.
choose who that is.
Yes. I don't know. I've always really liked uh, homegrown pitching. I don't know why, but I love it. Um,
Interesting.
I, it I I think I love it because you can always buy pitching. Like I think that's why I like it because then you can actually spend money on hitting and kind of be in a different spot as other teams and have better options to pick from. Um, I don't know. I mean,
That's funny because my philosophy is the opposite. I always think that you should have homegrown hitters because I think they project out easier and more consistently
yeah,
to where you can kind of stack it that way. You can teach flexibility in positions. Um, I think like between injuries and skill set, picking up pitches, like it's hard to hit on as many pitchers as you do hitters. So if I'm
yeah.
GM for a day, I'm making sure that my hitters are homegrown, and then I'll go pay for pitching.
I mean, I do like that. Like I feel like that's the way you should do it. But I just for some reason I feel like it's I feel like it's harder to hit on pitching in my eyes at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I just always really enjoy it and when we have good homegrown pitching talent because I feel like we never spend money on starting pitchers anyway. And if we do, it's like a middle of the pack kind of guy, like
To your
a Frankie
point,
Montas. And
it's going to be hard to get top level pitchers in Cincinnati, like when they've already performed well. Like it's one thing to get like Sonny Gray after a down year, and then all of a sudden he's good again. It's another thing to just count on getting guys into Great American in the prime of their career. Like so, yes, from a Reds
yeah,
perspective, I think having homegrown pitching is advantageous to them. But just blanket statement as any team in the MLB, I would be producing hitters over pitching.
yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. I feel like anytime we sign a pitcher, it's because they like either had an injury ridden season the year before or they weren't
Yeah.
very good. Like you were just saying, Sonny Gray, Frankie Montas, like those kinds of guys. Um, then as far as rotation, there I feel like this is a massive question mark for us. I'm very happy that we did spend money and traded people to really kind of boost this rotation. Like the only I don't really hate anybody in our rotation. It is somewhat strange to me that we have three lefties. I feel like you typically only keep two.
You
But
you're talking bullpen, right? You keep saying rotation.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, my
Yeah.
bad, my bad,
Oh,
my
you're
bad,
good. I'm just trying
my
to
bad,
catch
my
up
bad.
here. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I was very happy with the Taylor Rogers trade. I understand he's getting older, but that guy's been a stud the last couple of years. Um, Scott Barlow, I think, will be a good one as well. He's kind of slated just as a early reliever kind of guy. But the one I'm probably the most excited for, and it's because of it's the guy that I'm the most concerned about, but is Graham Ashcraft. So obviously we've basically kicked him out of the rotation, and he's now in the bullpen. But the guy's got crazy stuff. I would love to see him somehow develop into either a closer or a really good setup guy. Because I feel like he's got the mentals to be able to do something like that. Like he kind of seems like he's a little bit of a psychopath. But Alexis Diaz just has not been good. Hasn't been good this spring either. I know he's shown that he can be good, um, but it's just not materializing right now. And so I'm
Everything he
getting a little
does,
scared there. Like
everything he does just looks more complicated than it needs to be.
I hate his windup. It looks so
Same.
painful.
Same.
He's like so lanky and just like kind of hunches over while he's doing it. Drives me crazy.
It doesn't look repeatable.
Hopefully he No. Yeah, it kind of looks like he's just. It's like us bowling. Like we don't
Right.
look at anything on the ground to line up and throw at. We just grab the ball and bowl, which is why sometimes we bowl over 200 and sometimes we barely crack 100. Um, as far as pitching for us, that's really all I got. I did already mention Chase Burns and Rhett Lauder. Uh, I'm excited to see what Singer does in a Reds uniform. Um, and hopefully we're in a good position towards the end of the year where we can buy some bullpen arms and continue the push for dominance in the NL because the Dodgers suck. No, I'm very excited about this. I hopefully somewhat soon I'm going to be starting a Reds version of our show, and I will dive much further into the Reds. So look forward to that. I'm sure a lot of the people that are listening to this want us to go further on them and actually break it down. Uh, but we just don't have the time to do that, and we don't want to sit here and make you listen to 2 hours worth of MLB or of NL Central talk, which I'm sure it's going to be 2 hours already because we're already at an hour. Do you have anything to add about the Reds?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. We will move on then to the St. Louis Cardinals. Tied for second last year with you guys. But so the Cardinals are next. Key departures. Big one in Paul Goldschmidt, a.k.a. Goldie. I also put Nolan Arenado because there's a decent chance that he's going to get traded at some point. But I have no clue when. They were supposed to do it in the preseason, but they have not. Yeah, so that's as far as hitting goes. That's their key departures. They did have a key ad that I listed. I don't know if he's even going to make their team, but Jose Barrero, ex-Red, a guy that I believed strongly in, who is now reminding me of Noelvi Marte, or Noelvi Marte is now reminding me of him, so that maybe isn't a good sign. But we do have to tip our caps to the St. Louis Cardinals, only for the fact that 10 of their 13 hitters on their roster are all homegrown and
I'm
actually
not doing
drafted
it.
by them.
I'm not doing it. It's sacrilegious as a Cubs fan to tip my cap to this organization, one, but also these guys aren't good.
No.
So,
You just
like,
miss Wilson Contreras.
no, not really.
He's better than Amaya. Go on.
I would agree with that. But, like, Cardinals, what the hell are you doing?
Wow. Love
Like,
this.
do Cardinals migrate to the South and just, like, took forever to come back up? Like, you have zero MLB signings this offseason. And
What a
so,
dumb lie.
Phil Maton, I don't
Phil
even know how to say it.
Matone. I don't know how to say it either. I just always say it like that.
Like that just happened the other day. And that's your only MLB signing. You went into the offseason with one goal and one goal only, clearly, and it was to trade Nolan Arenado. And you can't even do that. Like you can't unload a future Hall of Fame Gold Glove third baseman who still has a bat. You just can't do it. Like, what are we doing? Like, figure
he's
out
only
how to
33.
do something. Right.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't do that, then sign somebody. And this entire team, seemingly their entire team, as you mentioned, is homegrown. They all stink. They don't all stink, but
That's
they're not
what's
good.
funny about me with this team. Like, if you look at their projections, like all of them are projected well over 2 WAR. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're wrong. They're wrong.
I don't get it. Like Newbar is good, Contreras is good. Like all these guys, they're good, but I don't see all 6 of them playing that well this year.
No, I think Mason Wynn is pretty good. I think Nootbaar is.
Wynn could use a better bat, but he is very fast. He's an amazing shortstop. But like, he's probably going to get replaced by one of their prospects next year, at least as far as the shortstop position. But
They're just a bunch of average guys with like not well-rounded games. So you can poke holes in any of them. Like Jordan Walker, when he came up, I thought he was going to be the next best thing for a little bit, and then I watched him play right field, and it's embarrassingly bad. He looks like he can't move. He was supposed to be a really, really good hitter. He hasn't been.
He's
Like,
got a
their
cannon.
guys just don't pan out like they used to. Cardinals
Yeah.
used to be one of those teams where, like, you they'd bring up a 32-year-old rookie and you'd be like, oh, for some reason this guy's going to be great, and then he goes and makes like an all-star team. It's like the David Freezes of the world who like they just produced over and over again. That reign has stopped. Like this
Yeah.
team cannot produce anything. They had a chance to go trade Dylan Carlson a couple years ago for Juan Soto. They decided to not do that and keep Dylan Carlson. He's not even on the team anymore. Like the ability to turn any of their top prospects into like really, really good players for how
Yeah.
reliant they are on them. It's just not there. Like this team is in a world of hurt, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and I love it.
When you look at the homegrown talent too, only one of them is a first round pick. It's like where have your other first round picks ended up? Like
Right.
Nolan, your boy Norman Gorman, he was first round pick in
Don't
2018.
say he's my boy.
You love Norman
He's
Gorman.
no, I don't. I say his name wrong on purpose for fun. He's a
All right.
fucking Cardinal. I don't love any of these guys.
I love
Don't
how
put their
much you
names in
hate.
my mouth.
I love how much you hate the Cardinals. Because I do, but honestly, these days I hate the Brewers more, just because it never makes sense to me that they're as good as they are. Because I feel like they always have a subpar lineup. Anyway, we'll get into that later. Um, but like all these guys are power ranked so high too. I don't understand it.
They're not good. All the rankings projections I think are too high. I'm not wowed by anybody on this team. Like
No.
Nolan
I'm just
Arenado, like
waiting for
obviously his
Jose
prime's
Barrero to
passed
become
him a
good.
little bit. Jose
It's gonna,
Barreo's not good.
I said I'm just waiting for him to become good, and it's going to piss me
I
off.
know
Um,
he's not going to be good.
Wild, by the way, that Victor Scott is his projected WRC plus is 76, and he's
Yeah,
on the starting team, or he's starting
he's
on the team.
speed and defense. That's it.
That's crazy.
He is very
Um,
very fast. He's like probably an exciting guy to watch.
mhm.
Um, but I don't think he's necessarily good for your baseball team.
Yeah, I just like I do tip the cap just to the fact that they have all this homegrown, but like it's just wild to me that so there's in their starting nine they have the one that's a first rounder, and then two second rounders. Like 2020, they had a great draft. Everything else has just been dog shit. Like
For me to tip my cap to a team, not only do you have to have the bodies that are homegrown, but they have to be good. And in this case, they're all homegrown because they're just not willing to spend money or go do anything to help their team. And it's quite frankly embarrassing for
yeah,
the
I mean they're
Cardinals.
definitely in a rebuild, but they're still good enough to not necessarily have to call it a rebuild. Like they're not good, but they're not Marlins or White Sox. Like they're still going to win 70 games at least. They're projected to finish 3.8 higher than the Reds. Like
Yeah, but the Cardinals are a proud franchise with a lot of historic success. Like this is as bad as it gets for them, and it's pretty dang bad.
yeah. Um, I was scrolling through their minor league system to try to figure out where all their first round draft picks are, and I've only found two. So that's wild. Um, Meaning they've either traded them all away or they're just not even on the team anymore. Oh, never mind. I just found a block of them. They're all pitchers. Uh, but I am excited for JJ Weatherholt next year. Well, I say that lightly because I don't ever get excited about the Cardinals. But JJ Weatherholt has been having a great spring. It will be exciting to see him come up next year, most likely. Maybe this year. Who knows? But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't like their team. Uh, I I don't think they're horrible, but to your point, there's nothing like jumping off the paper at this.
No.
Like even three of their four bench guys are homegrown as well. That's crazy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's littered with them. But once again, like every player you look at, you're like, oh, I remember when he came up. He was supposed to be the next best thing, and
yeah,
now he is a average role player on a probably below average team.
yeah. Which I mean, you can't necessarily knock them on that because if they're just not good, then they're just not good. But like, fix your drafting strategy, man. Uh, but also, I
Go
mean,
spend $1.
Yeah, that too.
Literally a single dollar anywhere to help your
Yeah.
team because they refused to do that.
Yeah, like the Marlins probably spent more in free agency than they did. And that's that's saying a lot. I don't have anything else to add as far as bats go. Do you?
No, I mean they're pretty well rounded, righty lefty. So I don't really see holes like in a lineup construction point of view. It's just the talent
Yeah,
is a concern.
very much. And I don't understand why they're projected to play as good as they are. Like as
I would
far as
be
both record and WAR, like it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I agree. I would be pissed if I was a Cardinals fan.
Yeah,
Pissed at the franchise.
yeah, but I mean, they don't necessarily have a reason to go spend. Be kind of based off of our points already. Like they've got all this homegrown talent, but none of them are just like blow you away talent. It's like there's so many gaps and holes in this team that they'd have to spend a lot of money to fix stuff.
I'm with you there, but how do you not change up something? Because
Yeah.
what, like,
Well,
it
and all
didn't
these
work
guys are
last
good
year.
enough to be starters in the league, but they have too many of guys with that profile to
Yeah.
really do anything. Because it's not like you're replacing somebody that's just bad. Like they're all good, they're just not anywhere close to great.
I mean,
So it's like,
bundle up
how
a
do you?
couple of these guys who don't project out to be studs anymore. Throw them in a trade package somehow, get something back, whether it's prospects to further help the rebuild or somebody who you can use now, and then you have a more like star and scrub approach to your lineup instead of just mediocre, average players.
Yeah, package them up, send them to Chicago, South Side, not Wrigley,
Yeah, yeah,
and take whoever their best
yeah.
prospects are.
They'd take them, I'm sure.
Yeah, just have
They have a
more
lot of
bad
prospects
jerseys
now.
on.
Like these guys aren't going to get like great prospects, but at least you cast a wider net to hope that somebody pans out along the
Yeah.
way.
Well, and speaking of prospects, I talked about JJ Weatherhold already, but they only have three in the top 100. The other two are pitchers. So
Because they're all at the MLB level now, and they're not
yeah,
prospects anymore, and they aren't good.
correct.
I'm
Um,
good on the hitters.
yeah, same. So moving on to pitching. Um, key departures. I put Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn. I don't know how much I really call that key, but they're both starters for them last year. Ate a bunch of innings. Then also Andrew Kittredge, who I believe signed with the Astros. It doesn't matter. Yeah, he signed with the Baltimore. That's what it was.
Orioles.
Yeah. And then, as you alluded to earlier, Phil Matone. Phil, I think it is Matone. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've never actually learned
I've
how to
never heard
pronounce
it
his name. I've just
pronounced.
always said it like that. Um,
Same. I've definitely heard of him. Haven't really heard his name announced that I can
yeah.
remember.
So this is what's hysterical too. So their rotation's all right. I feel like they're similar to the Reds in which they've got a stud in Sonny Gray, and then other good starters, but their fifth spot just stinks. Like Steven Matz, I don't think is very good. Um, but I I feel like Miles Michaelis, every time he's about to figure it out, he just gets shelled and is bad again. It's it's just like there's not really even here it's just a bunch of mediocre. Like I like Eric Fetty, but what's he going to do to help improve your team? But then you also look at their pen, and their pen sucks too. They've
Yeah.
got Ryan Helsley, who is absolutely dominant. Like he is so good. But I also anticipate them trading him at some point, probably this year, uh, when they're 15 games below 500 at the deadline. I'm just trying to wish bad things on them. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's not even a whole lot to talk about here either. Like I was saying, they do have two prospects in Quinn Matthews, he's a lefty, and then Tink Hence, great name. He's a righty, which it does say that they're both supposed to come up this year. But looking at their rotation, like these guys would probably have to come up and be in the pen because of their rotation, only one guy has an option left, and that's Palante, which you could probably send him down. But he was all right last year. Like he deserves to stay up. Um, so I'm curious where they fit those two in. It's like they're probably going to have to be in the pen. I don't know, or unless you're going to be cutting some of the other guys, or you're going to move some of these starters at the deadline, bring these guys up to backfill, get them some experience before next season. How do you feel about their pitching staff?
I don't think there's any clarity on what the heck is going on in St. Louis, to be honest with you. Sonny Gray,
Yeah.
like, he's been good, and then he got bad, and then he got great. Um, he's 35 and a half now, and he's not a big man. So I just have longevity concerns with him. He's definitely proven me wrong. I thought when he got bad on the Yankees, I thought that might be it. So good for him for bouncing back, but that could fall apart at any moment. Eric Petty, I think the results have been better than how good he actually is. The only thing I know about Andre Palente is that he can't hold runners on at all. So, I mean, besides that, like,
You going down that
should
soapbox
be
again?
good. No, I'm not getting on that soapbox. Just standing next to it. I mean, they're very unexciting. Like, this might be one of the more boring teams because they'll be just good enough to, like, not want to watch for prospects and, like, what's to come.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like a slow, painful, like, death by a thousand cuts type of team. Like, I don't like it at all. Their
Yeah.
bullpen, like, yeah, Helsley is insanely good. Like, how often did they get to him this year? And then,
I
of
expect him
course,
to
they're
be
going to be
wearing a
facing
different
the
uniform
Cubs
by the
half
end
the
of the year.
time that he's even in anyway. So I won't be looking forward to watching that.
Yeah. One thing I find funny about this team is that it's just chock full of like non-household names, because our entire 30 years of life, 34 for some, the Cardinals have been good. Like they've always, even if they're just average, that they still have good players on their team. Like you
Yeah.
always have a Contreras, you always have a Yadier, you always have a fucking Pujols. Like they've just have been so good our entire lives. It's just fun to, like, obviously I don't want any team in the league to be bad, but if I had to pick one, the Cardinals are a
They're up
good
there.
destination.
Very good destination. I don't think we're making any fans in St. Louis by any means
No.
right now, but we can do without them.
Yeah,
Maybe for now.
Yeah, we'll work on our NL Central biases of teams, but
I'll be
we'll
better
get
if the
better.
team was exciting, like if they were fun to watch instead of just a bunch of average dudes like trying to fly out to center field over and over again.
Yeah, I am curious as to how this uh, team's going to look come, what is it, July 15th? Isn't that the deadline?
31st.
Yeah, 31st, you're right. Yeah, I don't see, I'm with you. I don't see their direction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like
Which
they're
it's funny too, because
it
they
seems
don't
like
even,
they
it's
should
not
be
even like
good
they're like
now.
heavy platooned. They have one
No, it
platoon,
seems like they
and it's a
should be good
DH.
now from their roster construction with like all these homegrown guys, former prospects. They're all here now, and you're just like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need to go into depth on any of these bullpen guys. Really, they're
Same.
fine.
I agree. Um, yeah, then I've already listed off all the prospects too. Like it's not like they've got a whole lot coming.
No,
All right, so we will
JJ
move on.
Weatherholt, I think will be good. So
Yes.
that's like the saving grace of this entire organization right now. It seems like.
Yeah.
And hopefully they
Which
move on from Arenado because there's no need for him to be there. His trade list, I think he was with Colorado so long. He has all the no trade clause stuff you can get in MLB, I think. So he's got a short list, which hampers them
well,
some
it's
more. Hopefully he finds a destination come deadline time.
he guaranteed has half of the veteran no trade clause. It's 10-5. You have to be in the league for 10 years and then 5 years consecutively in the same team. So this is his 5th year with the Cardinals. So if he didn't want to leave, he can't really control that until after next season. I'm sure his contract probably states something, full no trade clause. But
Well, he was with
yeah,
Colorado though for more than 5 years.
but it
Does
has to be
that
the
not
same. It has
translate?
to be the same team for 5 years.
You lose that?
Damn, yeah.
Damn,
Um,
that sucks.
yeah, it does. They deferred a lot of his contract out, but it's only like 2 or 3 million every year until he turns 50.
That's a
But
smart way to
yes,
do it right there.
yeah. So he's got 3 seasons left on his contract, including this year. So definitely a good trade piece too, because like that's not that crazy expensive, and it goes down in price over the next 2 years. It goes 21 to 16 to 15. So I don't really understand why anybody hasn't traded for him already. I mean, yes, he's getting older. Yes, he's expensive, but they paid for that in his earlier contract, which I guess the Rockies actually signed that. But yeah, with them deferring all that money too, like he's relatively cheap. I feel like for his status, but I mean, he is getting older. Like I'm sure his stats are going down, but I fully expect him to get traded by the deadline. Probably Ryan Helsley, and I don't really think I have any other. Like maybe Sonny Gray. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I would think you'd want to just move on from your studs now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll keep Contreras, but
Yeah,
yeah,
even that, why? Like, you don't have to.
well, he's playing first now. That's
I know, but
I knew they were going to do that, but I thought it was funny that they officially did it, especially
he's
because
never been good defensively. He's got a cannon of an arm, but in terms of like calling pitches was a big concern when he was on the Cubs and they were trying to trade him at the deadline. Stuff fell apart because other teams were concerned about his ability to like learn a pitching staff and manage a game, and then his framing is atrocious. So I'm not surprised. He should be a first baseman. I mean, the guy can hit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, he can
he
hit. You want him
he
to
is
stay
pretty
healthy,
athletic
so
for a catcher. So you protect the knees a little bit at this point.
damn, he's been in the league for almost 9 years already. He's 32.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
I didn't realize he was that old. All right, so you're good on the Cardinals, correct?
yes.
All right, it's time, Jake. Let's move on to your Cubbies.
Yeah, I wish I was more excited about him.
Oh,
Um,
come on. You're supposed to win the division by 12 games.
yeah,
But
well, you want to go over key ads and departures real
yeah,
quick, and then you're just gonna
let's
have
go
to let
into
me
it.
roll here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So key departures, you got Mike Tauchman, the Sockman. Your guys is pretty much leadoff hitter last year. I loved watching him with you guys last year, just because I feel like he was good at the Yankees, but all of a sudden was like much better with you guys. But Mike Tauchman, you traded away Cody Bellinger. Um, you also traded away Isaac Paredes and your boy Cam Smith. Your key ads, though, a bunch of fun names for your entire team. Kyle Tucker, that's a big one. Very curious to see if you guys are going to extend him or not. But then you also added Justin Turner as a nice little crafty vet on the bench. And then I believe it was Rule 5. Yes, you Rule 5 picked Gage Workman from the Tigers, which I think I like that move for you guys. I watched him in a spring training game. Absolutely hit the shit out of the ball. So that'll be fun for you guys.
Yeah, he's panned out so far. My biggest concern is so the Cubs last year won 83 games. Now everybody in the world is projecting them to be like just a slight tier behind teams like the Dodgers. I don't think the Cubs got that much better. I'm really struggling to see how the Cubs really improved. So Kyle Tucker obviously is an improvement over Cody Bellinger, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
like Cody Bellinger was bad. Like it's not a significant improvement. They have pretty similar averages. Just looking over the last 2 years, um, because Cody Bellinger was in Chicago for 2 years, but I mean they're going to hit mid 280s. You're trading a little bit of Cody Bellinger's. I guess if he had a weakness, it's the lack of like power in comparison to Kyle Tucker. So you are getting an upgrade from that standpoint. They're both pretty good fielders. Cody Bellinger is a little bit better, but what you lose is the like depth of Cody Bellinger that he gives you because he can play first base, he can play any position in the outfield.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker is pretty much a corner outfielder. Now he's the best player on the team. He's not going to move you, or you're not going to move him anywhere. But like defensively, it's not an upgrade really. Like we went into last offseason having Cody Bellinger, having Seiya Suzuki, having Ian Happ, having Pete Crow Armstrong, like you have a bunch of outfielders already, so you didn't address a positional weakness. All you did is trade up on power a little bit. Like I see that as an improvement. I don't think it's a dramatic improvement to all of a sudden vault the Cubs into like a top tier team by any means.
Yeah.
Like they were barely 500 last year. They missed the playoffs. I don't see the difference in Kyle Tucker being that big. Not only that, you end up giving up Cam Smith, who, sure, he's a lot better a lot earlier than anybody probably realized. He's hitting the crap out of the ball, but he's hit the crap out of the ball every place he's been. He got drafted early. He is like in spring training, they're now looking and trying to get him into right field to potentially make the opening day roster this year. Like, you just gave up a guy who I think is just absolutely insanely good. He's hitting 409. Yeah, 409 right now in spring training. He only has 5Ks. So it's not even just hitting the ball well when you make contact. Like, he has a professional approach already. He has so
Yeah.
much power. And the Cubs don't have a third baseman. They don't have a true third baseman. It's going to be Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is a second baseman to start the year. Justin Turner can't play third base anymore. He's going to be first base, platoon, DH guy. I like that signing as well. I think it's like helpful for the team, but like you had a positional weakness at third base. Now you're seeing Cam Smith be a potential like opening day or right around the corner prospect. And you just let him walk to hardly upgrade your team. So,
Yeah. For
like,
only
we
one
still have
year of
Nico
Kyle Tucker,
Horner.
too.
What's that?
So for only 1 year of Kyle Tucker, too.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the organization, like, it's a big no in my eyes that they just got rid of who I think is the best prospect in their organization. I'm not sure exactly what he was ranked when he was traded, um, especially with his lack of experience at the, like, just in professional baseball.
Yeah.
Like, you still have Nico Horner, who's going to be your everyday second baseman when he's healthy. It should be the domestic opening day, hopefully, if not shortly after. Which means Matt Shaw, a rookie, is going to be your third baseman. I would have much rather that rookie third baseman be Cam Smith than Matt Shaw. And honestly, I would rather have Matt Shaw play second base and you move on from Nico Horner like they were trying to do over the offseason. I think that's how your team gets better. I don't think your team gets better by having Kyle Tucker instead of Cody Bellinger,
Yeah.
significantly enough to all of a sudden vault you from a hardly 500 team to a World Series contender. We still can't get anybody out. We still don't have a very like good proven bullpen. I don't see it. I'm a little ticked off as a Cubs fan that they're getting like all of this national recognition as a really good team. I don't think they are.
Damn. I would have thought you'd be a little bit more excited than that. But you guys do have a lot of first round draft pick on your team.
Yeah, I
With
mean, they
Dansby
aren't
being
bad.
1-1. No, but the
They
Kyle
aren't bad. Like,
Tucker.
people are going to get better too, right? Like, Pete Crow Armstrong's only going to get better at this point. He's very exciting. Like Ian Happ and Saya, like they are the same age in their 30 season. Like, they're not falling off by any means. Michael Bush has been nothing but good. Dansby, I think, is a big disappointment. Great for the locker room. He's the captain. I get all that.
Disappointment.
But, dude, he's offensively, like, not cutting it. He's a Gold Glove shortstop. Like, he's a good piece. I don't think he should be your 5 hitter.
No, yeah. I would hope
Like,
that you think that.
I wish he was my 7 hitter.
Yeah, and I would think maybe PCA, because PCA has some power, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he or Matt Shaw could end up bumping Dansby down. Or if you call up some of these prospects that you're supposed to be calling up this year. See, that's what I don't get with the Kyle Tucker one. I didn't not get this until I started doing this preparation, because I didn't realize your guys' farm is kind of as stacked as it is.
Yeah.
So you've got Matt Shaw, who's up now. You've got Owen Cassie. I hope I said that right. Who's an outfielder who's supposed to come up this year. James Triantos, who can play outfield, supposed to come up this year. Kevin Alcantara, who you're really high on, outfielder, is supposed to come up this year. It's like, why is that the spot that you decided to go big on?
Yeah,
when
for
you could have
a
had
rental
Belly playing
player.
first. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I would have loved Belly being a DH. Like Belly would have been I don't have a position, but I'm an everyday player, whether it's as a DH, whether it's any spot in the outfield, whether it's first base. Um, you get one of the top five guys in your lineup, you give them a breather. Um, whether it's sliding guys to DH or actually putting them on the bench for the day. Like, I think that's a big value add, and I think it almost is um, equally as important as getting the extra 5 home runs that you're going to get out of Kyle Tucker. I don't understand why you sell off one of your best prospects, and in my opinion, the best prospect in your organization for 1 year of a player who you already had on your team pretty much in Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really.
In a lot of
What?
ways, the same player. Like Kyle Tucker is better. I want to be very clear on that before I get trolled.
Yes.
But it's not that big of a difference. Like
Which
Cody
trade came
Bellinger
first?
plus they're the same one because
Wait, what?
Isak,
All right.
Cam Smith, and
Sorry.
Isak
Continue. Yeah.
went to
Yeah. Sorry.
Houston.
I meant did Belly get traded first or did
Oh
Tucker get traded
yes,
first? Okay.
yeah, they just cleared up money
Yeah.
is all they did for Bellinger, which tells me they aren't going to sign Kyle Tucker. And to your point with the prospects, why would
Yeah.
you?
You've got 3 top 100
Um,
prospects coming up next year
and
or
having
this
money
year.
is great, except they don't want to spend it. So the Ricketts are just trying to make sure that they make money every year. They don't. They already won a World Series. They couldn't care less. It pisses me off. Um,
Especially owning
it,
a big city team.
but they're like, oh well, at least we made money last year. It's like you've made
Great.
like $3 billion
What's that do
just
for
in
us?
the value of the Cubs organization since you've been there. Like
Yeah.
you can dump a little bit of that money into a starting pitcher instead of signing Matthew Boyd, Colin Rea, and considering signing Lance Lynn off of their deathbeds.
Yeah. I feel like being geographically in the center of the country always hurts your teams, your Chicago teams, because it's like you always have to compete with the Cincinnati's, the St. Louis's, the Milwaukee's. Like those owners aren't going to be spending a whole bunch of money, so your owners are like, we're
Why
going to just
spend it?
spend. Yeah, why should I be spending like the New Yorks and the LA's and just go nuts? But you're
Because you're in the
such a big
world of
profile
sports and your
team.
goal is to demolish
Yeah,
everybody in your path. But when you build a legacy off of um, it's like insurance or annuities or something, some white collar thing that the Ricketts are in. They don't
yeah.
care about that. They just want money, so they're gonna like create a fun experience at the stadium. So you show up,
It
and
is a
they're just
fun
gonna
part.
pocket that money.
Yeah,
It's a
you guys,
blast, but
you guys fill the
can we get a
stadium.
reliever who can get somebody out? Like, can we maybe get
You
like
did get
a
one.
fourth or fifth? Yeah, we got one who was
You
gifted
got
to
two,
us.
actually.
You're higher on these guys than me, man. It might just be
Uh,
me being protective of my heart because I'm a Cubs fan, but um, they're in a good spot. Obviously, it's a competitive team. I hope they make the playoffs. It's not a slam dunk by any means, where a lot of people I think are projecting it that way.
That's what I think's hysterical about these projections. Because, like, obviously, I wholeheartedly disagree with the Reds one. You appear to be way lower than Pacoda is on the Cubs, and like we also already talked about the Cardinals being projected way too high. Like even the Pirates too, and then I feel like even the Brewers are projected too high. Like the projections in this division just make no sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I have a love hate relationship with Pacoda, and it's mostly hate. So
Yeah, it's mostly hate for me as well. Like I do
I know,
agree with putting the White Sox as 20 games higher or better because like
yeah,
it's
because it
so
can't be
hard
worse.
to lose. It's so hard to only win 41 games. Like 60 is usually seen as bad, and they won 40. Like that's crazy. Like they will get better. They will get to 60, but or
Yeah.
at least very close to it. But
Before we move on to pitchers, I know I already started throwing a couple names out there, but one, I want to give a shout out to Michael Bush, one of the most underrated players in baseball. Duke can pick it at first, a really, really good bat. So glad that transaction from last year paid dividends so far and still going. Also, my main concern is that this Cubs team isn't good enough to create clear separation in the Central by the deadline, and you can't sign people at the deadline. You have to trade to improve your team. So I don't want
You
to.
got a
We have
bunch
a
of prospects.
exactly. I'm worried that we're going to get rid of all of our prospects for a rental again and double down on that strategy, and that's not a sustainable like franchise direction that I would take when you have all this young talent. Like
Do
rely
you
on
think
them. What you should have done is spent during the off season when you had more options to create separation in the division, so you don't have to improve your team that much mid year.
let's say there's a situation that exists that the Cubs are winning the division at the deadline, and it's clear that some of your prospects need to come up. Would you be cool with flipping Kyle Tucker,
Yes, absolutely.
even if he's
I
like
don't
the heartbeat
care
of your
what
offense?
year he could be having an MVP season. I would be open to it.
Really, love that.
The thing is, if this team gets to, and I'll transition us to the pitchers. If this team gets to the playoffs, like Shota's good. I think Shota is not as good as he was last year. He really
He was so
rode
good
like
last
his
year.
first 10 starts or so to like a good statistical year when the first 10 starts coming over from Japan, nobody's seen him. And they adjusted to him, and all of a sudden he was pretty neutralized. Still a good pitcher, don't get me wrong, but not at the level that I think a lot of people think he's at. Justin Steele's been getting knocked around spring training a little bit. I have all the faith in Justin Steele. I think he's really good. Tyone, I think, is good. But after that, like you can't go into the year with three starters and expect to go anywhere. Odds are,
A lot of
one of these
lefties.
guys spends some time injured just because that's what happens to starting pitchers. Like we just talked about the Reds. The Reds, I feel like, have 8 solutions at starting pitcher if things go sideways
Yeah.
for any one, two, or three of them. Um,
Do,
the
do
Cubs
you have
have
any
three
strong
out of
or
five
weak opinion
guys.
on Cade Horton?
He's supposed to be really good. A number of prospects that have been supposedly good for the Cubs haven't panned out. So I'll wait until I see it at the MLB level.
Dude, that's how I am. Like our entire lineup at one point were good prospects and supposed to be really good, and they've shown that they can be good. But it's like
Mhm.
do that more consistently, please. But no,
Like
I mean your
Javier
rotation
Assad
is
is
great.
injured right now, and
Oh, I
he's
forgot
actually
about
really
him.
good. He's kind of a soft tosser, where it doesn't pass the eye test, but nobody can hit him hard for some weird reason. I have a lot of confidence in him too. So whenever he gets back in that rotation, it makes it look a little bit better. I'm just not excited about Matthew Boyd or Colin Rea at all. And the fact that the Cubs don't have faith in those guys to the point where they're kicking around Lance Lynn as a name to sign, like you missed the
Yeah,
boat
but I
on
thought Lance Lynn signing was potentially to be in the bullpen.
potentially, but like when Matthew Boyd or Colin Rea don't pan out because they just aren't that good,
Yeah,
then what?
you do have Brad Keller. You
Yeah, if
could
he
do
makes the
that.
team,
Yeah. And then didn't Julian Merriweather used to start? No,
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking of
I was gonna say
somebody
he's
else.
been a reliever ever since I've known him.
Yeah,
He used to be on
I'm
the Blue
thinking of somebody
Jays.
else. But no, your rotation's great. I think you're a little too
I
low
disagree.
on Matt Boyd and Colin Rea. I've never been a huge Colin Rea fan, probably just because he was on the Brewers. But I've also never been a huge Jameson Taillon fan, but he definitely changed my mind last year. I remember
Yeah,
telling you
he's good.
probably at least 20 different times that he sucked ass because he
I
did when
love
he was with
him.
the Yankees. He wasn't good with them, but he definitely proved me wrong. So I will stop talking shit about him. Well, maybe.
Thank you.
I didn't realize he was
I'm glad
second
you've
pick
come around.
overall.
Yeah, he
I
was.
knew he
I
was
mean,
drafted by the Pirates, but
when I named those Pirates
oh,
from
I oh, I
2017 or whatever
remember.
it was, he was
I just
good
didn't.
then.
I just didn't realize that he had that high
I think it's
of.
a lot of people struggle when they go to the Yankees. Like we just talked about Sonny Gray. It's kind of the same thing. Like he was good before, went to the Yankees, sucked, and then left
Montas.
and got better. Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I
Montas
love
got hurt.
Jameson
That
Taillon.
wasn't fair.
I'm fine with our top three. I don't think we have like the absolute star power that a lot of teams
Mm-hmm.
would have in a
You don't
like
need it.
Cy Young contender. I don't think you need it. I think that's slightly overrated. It's nice to know that you have a win
Yeah,
opportunity every 5 days, or like favorited to win every 5 days. But we have three guys who I think are very, very good,
hmm,
um, and kind of give you that opportunity just to a lesser degree. It's the fourth and fifth spots. Like, I'm terrified of watching either of them throw a ball over the plate.
yeah. I mean, but at least you have a good path for Cade Horton to try to get there and actually be like motivated for it. Like not to
Yeah,
continuously take Cubs takes and back to the Reds, but like if I'm Chase Burns or Rhett Lauder, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do?
what
I
am I
could be as
doing?
good as I can be down here right now, but there's no spot for me.
Yeah, it might not matter. That's
Yeah,
fine. I mean, having a clear pathway, like, yeah, that's good for him. But we're trying to win a World Series this year, and I don't know if Cade Horton is the guy in the starting rotation to get you there.
yeah. I mean, you do nowadays. You really only need three good starters for the playoffs. A fourth and fifth are
Yeah,
obviously great to have, but
I was gonna
especially if
say you
somebody
still
gets shelled
need
pretty early. But
4 and 5 to get you to the playoffs.
correct. I think so. This is where it sounds like we differ. I think you guys are definitely going to win the division. I'm just going to get ahead of that now. I'm way higher on you guys than you are. Um, I think other teams have a chance to win the division, but I think more times than not in any simulation, it's going to be the Cubs. Um, like I hold on. Let me back up because we completely didn't talk about your bullpen yet. But
It's
I
fine.
you added Ryan Presley, which I think is a great move for you guys, so that you don't have oh shit, what was his name? The guy that
Adbert.
yeah, Adbert Alzolay as your closer. Like Presley's great. I might have accidentally just said Helsley, by the way. I get these two mixed up all the time. Um, but no, Presley's really good. I was happy for you when you guys traded for him because
Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled about that.
he wasn't in the Tucker trade, right? That was just a separate trade.
Uh, I don't know. Yeah, there. Now that you say
I
it, there
bet
were
you
two
he was
trades. I
talked
can't keep them
about.
straight.
I bet you he was talked about with it, but then it just they were like, all right, let's get this done, kick him out of there, and then
Yeah, I
they
should have
just
pulled
both
that.
revisited it. That's all
I
good.
forgot who is for who. But yeah, now that you say that, I think
I
it
can
was
pull
two
it up in a
trades.
second.
It doesn't really matter when it comes down to it. It might have just been two trades because of money reasons and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I'm
But
fairly certain it was two
um,
different trades.
the only concern with Presley is he's already 36. Any time that a reliever is like changing teams and stuff, it's a little bit of a crapshoot, regardless of how good they are. As a
Yeah,
Cubs fan, like the whole Hector Neris experience was supposed to be this exact same situation where we found our closer, and that guy, I don't even know if he's in
he
the league
sucked
anymore.
for you guys. He is. We
Yeah,
talked about
like
him.
that.
We talked about him in a different episode recently. I forget for who, but
Yeah,
because
I
I
always,
poked at you when we said his name.
I always try to think of these rosters like from a preseason standpoint of what's the most likely scenario. And the most likely scenario for Ryan Presley is like he's still really good, but it's in the range of outcomes for sure that like it's another flop. He's a bullpen arm that is already 36. Like it's not out of the question that the Astros wanted to move on from him to some degree because they don't believe in him anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked it up by the way. The two trades were like a month and a half apart from each other. So
Yeah.
I
Also,
forgot that Tucker deal was done in 24.
other ad, by the way, Ryan Brazier,
Yes, I
he's
was
what gives
getting
me
there.
more confidence in Presley because I think one of them is going to turn out to be really good. It doesn't really matter what role either of them have. They'll be back under the bullpen guys anyways. So
Yeah. Is
just
is Porter
insurance.
Hodge actually good? I don't really remember hearing his name last year. Like he's got less than a year service time, but I
Yeah, as long
figured
as
you
he
would
can
know about
throw
him
the
more
ball
than
over
I
the
do.
plate, he's
So
really, really good. He just likes to walk people. So
also, you
like
just said
he
that
has
Ryan Brazier
everything.
you have more confidence in. He's older than Presley.
No, I said I have more confidence in Ryan Presley because of Ryan Brazier. Just the fact that you only need one of
Okay.
those two
Too many
guys to be
Ryans.
good at the back end, really. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think odds are like range of possibilities. The possibility of both of them being absolute dog shit is very low.
It's wild that you have a 24-year-old as your setup. I feel like setup guys and back end bullpen guys are always older just because usually, I mean, every pitcher wants to be a starter. You also
Mm-hmm.
obviously get paid a lot more too. But it's fun to see a 24-year-old as a back end
Yeah,
reliever.
he's nasty. I highly recommend you
I don't
watching
remember
some of his
watching him.
games.
I mean,
He wasn't up the whole year, but like
yeah, he has
he's got filthy stuff.
125 service time, but
The issue is he walked 4 batters per 9 innings. So
goo.
with how relievers are, typically it's not one walk per outing. It's I'm gonna forget how to throw a strike one day and walk the bases loaded. So he
Shout out
definitely gets you
Alexis
in a
Diaz.
pinch, but
Yeah,
his stuff is
high
nasty.
strikeout though.
Almost 11. Yeah, exactly. Like he can work himself in and out of trouble faster than anybody.
Yeah, well, and going back to your walks per nine, it's not really what you want out of a setup because when he comes in, you're only
Yeah,
up by one or two. So if you walk a guy and give up a home run, well, you just blew that save.
yeah. I think this is going to be a good test for my true opinions on Craig Counsell. I know you know this, but I'm not the highest on him. I think he came to the Cubs with a reputation of being like some sort of pitching pitch management guru, where he could just juggle a bullpen, and no matter what team he's on, the pitching staff is going to overachieve. We couldn't get anybody out last year so far in spring training. We can't get anybody out this year. I really truly think that the distinction that comes along with Craig Counsell being that pitching guru is because he had Josh Hader and Devin Williams and a really, really good just overall staff in Milwaukee. I think it had a lot more to do with the players and a lot less to do with him. Like you can't
Yeah,
possibly mess up handing the
or
ball
like
over to
their
Devin
pitching coach.
Williams.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Or other people. Like the guy, like Craig Counsell was a
yeah,
second baseman. Like
yeah.
he's
I was
not.
just about to say that. It's not like he was a pitcher.
Right. I think that was thrown on him as a tag awfully early. I don't believe it one bit. I still don't think he's worth the money that we paid him. I still think David Ross
A
was a better
lot of
manager.
money.
And I'd rather have that money go to the actual roster. So time to prove yourself, Craig Counsell. You're on my hot seat.
Ooh, hot seat. How
Yeah.
long's his contract? I would assume pretty long.
I forget. It was a handful of years at least.
I'll say he's too big of a name that you're not firing him. And this is the second year, right?
No, I mean, yeah, he's good enough not to get fired. Like, he's not a bad manager by any means. I don't want to sound too critical, but like, this pitching staff is the problem child of the roster. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're that good, like, it's time to show up. We need you to figure it out. So
Yeah.
figure it out. You're getting paid plenty of money to do so, and I have the right to be pissed at you if you can't, because that's your promise when you sign that deal.
Yeah.
So how good do you think the Cubs are? Do you see them as a 90-win team? They won
I think
83
so.
last year.
Yeah. I think they win 90. Um, I mean, they're projected at, what was it, 91.7? Yeah, 91.7. I think you win 90. I think you win the division for sure. Getting ahead of myself, but
I'm just a little bit concerned that, like, I don't think the Brewers, I know we differ on this, and we'll get to it in a second. I don't think the Brewers got worse. I think the Cardinals did, but I think the Reds and Pirates have gotten better. So I'm just concerned that, like, the whole division is better, and I don't think they made enough improvements to go from 83 wins to 90. That seems like a big
yeah.
ask.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I feel like your team's just better than it was last year. But, I mean, you've already pointed out that Kyle Tucker's isn't, like, he is obviously an upgrade of Belly, but is he 7 wins better? I don't know about that.
Yeah, it seems like a lot. I think a lot of the improvement this year is like, does the bullpen get better than last year? That's kind of the one spot where I think we made enough moves with enough quality pieces to move the needle.
Yeah.
It's still just a big ask, like just how I'm viewing it.
I mean, you're
7, 8 wins, 9 wins to get over the 91.5 mark over last year. That seems huge for a team that was healthy for the majority of last year.
your bullpen was like middle of the pack on all of its stats. 12th in ERA, 19th in WHIP, 11th K per
Yeah,
nine.
that just doesn't reflect how many blown saves Albert Alzolay had
Hmm.
and like the inconsistency there. So
Yeah.
I hear you.
Any chance you remember what your record is with 1-run games?
No clue.
I'll look up quickly. But no,
The
I
thing is,
think you
it's
can
not
win
even
90.
record. It's not even record. It's like, did you give up a 3-run lead and ended up winning the game anyways? Like, that's not successful bullpen.
Yeah.
Or did you have a 3-run lead and ended up winning by one
You guys
and you
went
stranded
23
like
and
runners on
28.
second, third? Yeah,
23 and 28 in 1-run games.
room for improvement.
The Reds had the same amount of losses and 8 less wins. We stunk in 1-runs last year.
Yeah, that's what bullpen does for you.
Yeah.
I'm good to move on to the Brewers, though.
Yeah, I think I am too. Um,
Okay.
right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So for the excuse me, I had to burp. Sorry. Uh,
Good.
for the 2024 NL Central winning Milwaukee Brewers, key departures on the hitting side. There's a big one. Willie Adames left, went and signed with the Giants, which I thought was interesting. Like, yeah, they've got all this core of young players, but I would have thought that they would have tried to keep Willie, um, just because he's been such an integral part of them ever since coming over from the Rays, which was it made me so mad that trade. But um, they also lost Gary Sanchez. I didn't look up his stats from last year, but that's really the second notable hitter that left. Other than that, they didn't really have any crazy hitters leave, unless you want to count Jake Bowers as one.
They re-signed him anyways to a minor league contract.
Oh yeah, good point. I didn't look into that at all. I didn't even notice it said MIL.
Yeah.
But their team's weird. So they do have homegrown talent for sure. Only a handful, but they've got massive platoon. Like the only person that doesn't platoon is your backup catcher, which makes sense. You would never really platoon catchers unless both your catchers just suck. And they have William Contreras, so that's not the case. Um, yeah, very, very weird team. But Mark Canna's back, James Vanderbeek lookalike. Um, yeah, that's really the only key ad I have for the hitters. I don't really know anything about Caleb Durbin. They got him in a trade with the Yankees. 0 service time. This is his first time being in the big, so I didn't really look him up. But I don't really know what to expect for this team this year. I don't think they're going to be very good. Yelly probably has to have a worse year than last year, right? Like he was so good last year. He had a
I was about
153
to say,
weighted
like,
runs created.
the Willie Adames subtraction is huge, and they didn't do anything necessarily to plug that up. But is it out of the question that getting a full year, hypothetically, out of Christian Yelich, based on what he did last year, that could replace that Willie Adames production, or a large portion of that Willie Adames production? Couple that with some Jackson just being better than last year, even though he was already good because he's
Yeah,
an absolute stud.
dude, he's so
Like, can
good.
they just make up for the loss of Willie Adames through there? Um, I kind of think they can. Christian Yelich, All Star last year, obviously didn't play a whole lot. He got hurt, and he just had back surgery.
Yeah,
He hit a home run over the batter's eye the other day in spring training. So I feel like the back is probably doing a-okay as long as he continues to stay healthy and plays more than the 73 games that he did last year.
yeah,
Like his numbers last year were almost, well, not identical, but very, very close and reminiscent of 2018 and 2019 when he was
Yeah.
MVP and runner up to MVP.
How
He
many
hit
games did you say he played?
315,
73?
73
That's
last year.
crazy. He had a 3 WAR over those
Yeah.
73 games. He was so
His
good
batting
last year.
average was 315. He slugged over 500. His OPS was 909, and his OPS plus was 151.
Uh,
All of those numbers are
high
slightly
walk rate too.
below, but in comparison to like his whole body of work throughout the years, like that season or that half a season last year is very reminiscent of his MVP level performance.
Mhm.
And he's in his year 33 season. So it's not like he's super old. And granted, the years might be a little different for him than others because of his injury history. But
Yeah, it feels like he's
if he's
getting old.
healthy, I expect him to be very, very good again. And
Hmm.
then on top of that, you also have Garrett Mitchell, who I think is an absolute stud. Um, he too only played a partial year last year, and he's kind of slated to be a big part of this offense too.
Yeah.
So I think they can replace that Willie Adames production without necessarily having to have any additions to their team. So I know I'm high on the Brewers. I know you historically have
I
never been
just,
high on the Brewers.
yeah, I just like outside of, I mean, maybe I don't think I'm as low on them as I usually am because of Jackson Churio being who he is. Contreras is still being very good. Yelich is like reborn. And then the inclusion of Garrett Mitchell there, then like and just this, they randomly called up all these guys at the same time, pretty much, and like every single one of them has hit. I gotta think
Yeah,
some of them have some regression, but even with that, you still have Churio, Yelich, Contreras, and Mitchell as your top four. Like that's a very good top four. I mean, Garrett Mitchell, he's probably the he's the least of the names of those four, but like it's also fun seeing a center fielder hitting fourth. By the way,
yeah.
just because that's not usually the profile you get. But
Takes
yeah,
you back
this
to like Andrew Jones and like
yeah
Adam Jones type of players.
yeah because like even like Trout, I don't think he's ever hit cleanup. He probably either leads off
No,
or it's second all the time.
it's like two or three.
Yeah. Um,
I think I think your point's fair that like they've hit on all these guys so far in their young careers, and that's unlikely just playing odds. Unlikely to continue. I think Garrett Mitchell's probably the most likely to not pan out over 3 years. He's only played in 116 games and hit 264, so it's
yeah.
definitely still like projection based what you think he is, and not actuality of his body of work so far. So yeah, you make a good point there. I'm probably a little bit too high on the Garrett Mitchell effect.
Yeah. Do you think Yelich is listed as DH because of his injury history? They just want to get him out of the field and lessen that risk.
Yeah, he also has a noodle arm. Like
Yeah,
he
his
covers
arm
ground, so he's
blows.
not like a bad fielder by any means.
Yeah,
But
he's your typical
you don't need him.
corner outfield guy.
Yeah,
Not that great, but he's really out there because he needs to swing.
yeah, Pete Davidson
Pete Davidson
type of
looking
arm.
ass.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you seen that video
which one?
when Yelich was in Miami? So Pete Davidson like went to a like batting practice or something like before a game, and
Maybe I
they
have.
looked dead on. So he had like a Yelich jersey on and stuff, and he was shagging fly balls, hitting, and it's just hysterical because one, Pete Davidson, I think is hilarious,
Yeah.
but also like he has not an ounce of athleticism. So highly recommend watching that video if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
That's it's crazy to me too. I'll have to look that up, but it's crazy to me too that Jackson Churio is power ranked at 48. Like he was so good last year, and he's only
Mm-hmm.
21. Like that, he's gonna get better for sure. Like that was his first
Yeah,
year. I feel like you grow a lot in your first off season. I feel like he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with this year, which I'm not gonna love because the Reds already have issues beating the Brewers to begin with.
I'm excited that in this division you have Ellie and Jackson Churio, and both of them can be like face of baseball potential good.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
you still
Ellie,
have Acuna,
Ellie
you
already
have
is.
Otani. Yeah, he's on the cover.
It's on the
MLB the
cover of
show
the
now.
show.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys out there, but like I don't know. As a Cubs fan, like Pete Crow Armstrong could be like really, really good. I don't think he has the potential to be face of baseball good.
Yeah.
He's exciting and he's a good ball player. Don't get me wrong, but Jackson Chourio and Elliot De La Cruz are just like in a different category.
Yeah.
There's rarefied air up there that only like Acuna and like Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt are like part of, as far as like the next wave of the MLB. Like
Yeah.
Otani, I think, is already like too old to be
I
like in the next wave. Like he obviously is him now, but
yeah.
I wouldn't
Well, yeah. I mean, Churi was
put him in that
21.
group. Yeah,
I came up when he was 20. Like that's crazy to be that good
yeah.
when you're 20. Um, but I feel like his name won't be as big just because he's not a shortstop. Like he's a right fielder. Like Acuna probably is only his name's probably only as big just because he won an MVP, so people actually know who he is. But uh, yeah, I feel like playing right field will hurt him as far as household name recognition. But still,
Um,
he's just as
I
good
don't
as
think
those
people care
guys.
about defense like that though.
I think people care
If
too
you go
much
out
about
there and steal a
defense.
bunch of bases and hit a bunch of bombs and are terrified when your team's pitching against him, you'll be known.
Yeah, people around the league know who he is, but no, I sincerely think people care way too much about defense. But no, it is fun to look at their roster because only even including pitching with the bullpen, they only have 5 guys that were homegrown.
Yeah, it's surprising for a small market team,
Yeah,
especially because they
couldn't
haven't
agree
spent
more.
money on
Damn.
a whole lot of guys with like huge contracts. It's just a
Yeah.
bunch of like really good players. They get the most out of them.
Mm-hmm. Um, they they got a lot of injuries. Holy hell. Uh, Blake Perkins fractured his shin. That sounds painful. Um, I don't have anything else to add for their defensive side.
Yeah, I'm good
You?
for pitching. Yeah,
Yeah. So
let's
they
go.
do have 3 prospects. I'll say them. You got a guy named Jefferson Cuero. He's a catcher. He's supposed to be up this year. He's number 47 in the league. Then they have number 55 and 56 in Jesus Made. Hopefully I said his last name right. It could be pronounced way different. He's shortstop, third base, and then Cooper Pratt, who's a shortstop. Neither one of them are supposed to come up for at least 2 more years. Um, yeah, so switching to pitching then. So key departures, they lost Joe Ross and Colin Rea, which not huge for them, but both ate a lot of innings. But the biggest one is losing the Airbender, which I'm acting like they like lost out on him. They traded him away, like they did that. Um, which I don't know what they're gonna do as far as that goes. Like I don't know if Miguel's good enough to really replace Devin Williams there. Like he does rank very well. He has great stats, but like he's not Devin Williams, you know. But the key ads for the pitching side, they got 3 new arms in their rotation. They got Nestor Cortez, Jose Quintana, and Tyler Alexander. All 3 lefties too. Fun fact. Uh, but yeah, I this side of the ball is where my negativity of the Brewers comes from, just because like they don't have that crazy uh the like Burns, Woodruff, Freddie Peralta trio anymore. Like Nestor Cortez, sure, he's good. Gave up a huge home run in the playoffs last year. Um, and Aaron Savali's good. Like they're all good. It's just it's not that overpowering like punch that they've had in years past. Like I remember every time facing them, I was praying that we were gonna see their 4th and 5th starters because if you face those 3, you're just screwed.
Yeah, it was a buzzsaw. It actually almost feels like the Pittsburgh Pirates now are what the Brewers were in terms of
Yeah,
that starting rotation, where like you couldn't get through a series without facing somebody who you were about to like. You really thought going into it you're going to get shut out, kind of
yeah. It's
deal.
very rare that they got swept in those days.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they're so good. It's just yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you. It's not quite as exciting. Did you know Nestor Cortez was a 36th round pick?
I just saw that and I was actually going to point it out, but that's crazy.
That is crazy. Like he doesn't have like the body type where you would have projected out like him as
Yeah,
a like college or high school guy to be like super super good because he's kind of smaller stature. But what a career he's
yeah,
turned out. Like he's good. He's a good
yeah.
player. Definitely like I think easily their second best pitcher on this team. Where I get a little bit concerned is one, they have a full starting staff of injured starting
Yes.
pitchers. So they do have depth there, but it's already been tested. So like if these guys come back and everyone who's there can hold up, like you're in a situation like the Reds where you just have a million options. So if
Hmm.
one guy struggles at all, you have an easy replacement. However, um, we've seen this with a couple of teams where like pitching injuries are more prevalent than elsewhere in the league. And like, is
Yeah.
that something um, from like a organization philosophy that they're really trying to maximize these guys out beyond their capabilities and kind of like
Jumping
hold
on hot takes
hope and
again, huh?
pray? No, I'm not going that hot of a take. It's just like the Dodgers were the same way. Like they have
Yeah.
a million injuries to their staff. It's like there's got to be something wrong here because it's we've seen two teams the entire league who have just been decimated by pitching injuries,
Hmm.
and they both happen to be very good. It's just like you got to be on the field too.
Yeah.
Um, but where I get a little bit concerned is like Savali is like an okay pitcher. Jose Quintana has had
I
like
feel like you
two
hate him.
years well, I mean, obviously he was good for a really long time, and then he kind of fell off. And his last 2 years have been pretty dang good. Three years actually. So in
Hmm.
2022, he had an ERA under three for Pittsburgh and St. Louis, and then he's had a 3.57 ERA his first year as a Met, and then a 3.75 last year. My place of concern is if you compare like his ERA to his FIP was really good in 2022 and 2023 at like a 3.0 and a 3.5. It ballooned up to over a 4.5 last year. So I think
Really?
last year was a lot of he got results without executing pitches to the same level that he has been. So I think the 3.75 ERA is awfully misleading. That being said, he is reliable. He's always out there. He's had a long career, most of it
Yeah.
without like injury concerns. So like that's a valuable piece in its own right.
Yeah.
But
Just
to
under
have him
13
be your
years
fourth
service.
starter, yeah, to have him be your fourth starter, he's 36 right now, coming off of a year that I think is kind of smoke and mirrors of in the sense that he wasn't as good as the numbers um, indicate, or
Hmm.
that was the traditional numbers.
Yeah.
Um, I think that could be bad um, in terms of their starting pitching depth. And then Tyler Anderson, or sorry, Tyler Anderson, Tyler Alexander. I don't think he's good at all. So I think they need to get some of these guys like Tobias Myers. I think is all right. Brandon Woodruff, obviously, he just pitched. Um,
Tobias Myers just got hurt.
yeah, Brandon Woodruff is now pitching in spring training, so he shouldn't be like too far away. By all accounts, he's looked good so far. They need him back. I mean, they just need a couple of these guys back who are currently injured to
Mm.
one replace Tyler Alexander and two be able to replace Quintana if Quintana's just completely done.
Yeah. I didn't realize
And then it's
Tobias Myers hasn't hit a year yet.
yeah, he's a young
I
guy.
feel like
He's
I've
got a
been
baby
hearing his
face
name
too.
for years. Yeah, like DL Hall has more time than he does. That's who they got in the Corbin Burns trade, I believe. Him and Joey
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz. Was it Joey Ortiz? I forget. Uh, yeah, so they do have one pitching prospect. That's a right-hander. It does say he's supposed to come up this year. He is number 99 on the list. It's Jacob Misiorowski. I don't think I said that right, but
Yeah. I think in the
Misiorowski.
back of your mind, you're hoping that that guy never makes it to the MLB. So you never
Back of
have to
my
say that
mind or
name again.
everybody? Yeah.
Your mind.
I'm just gonna
Just
start
it would be
calling him.
easier for you to not have to say that ever again.
They just needed to start calling him the Miz, like
There you go, like the
the
wrestler.
guy that was. Well, he was on MTV shows first.
Was he?
Yeah,
Shows you how much TV I watch.
yeah, he
No,
was on.
with wrestling.
I think he was on the Challenge and those types of shows. So basically, he's just been an athlete his entire career. Anyway, that was talking the Miz. Um, I don't really have much else to add. I'm nervous for them in their pitching realm. Like their pen is weird. Like they do have some really good arms in there. Um, I don't understand how Joel Payamps is as good as he is, but I think stats don't lie, so I can't really shit on him too much. Um, but I am nervous for them at late game scenario. Like I don't know if Miguel's going to be good enough to be that closer that they need and that they've had for years, going from Hader to Devin Williams. Um, but it'll be fun to watch that because I mean, obviously they've produced some really good pitching, so clearly they've got something going right in the philosophy realm of things. Um, Even though you think they're intentionally hurting their pitchers'
I didn't
arms,
say that. I
it's
didn't say
basically what you
that.
said.
Nope.
But yeah, hopefully they suck and the Reds can start to win again against them. You got anything else for
Yeah.
them?
I mean, no, not really. Like Devin Williams, you cannot replace a Devin Williams
The
very
better.
easily, especially when like Devin Williams replaced Josh Hader and like they knew what they had in Devin Williams at least. I
Yeah,
don't
because
think
he was
that
already
this is the same. Yeah,
he's
he's
already
the same
shutting people
caliber
down
pitcher
as a
already.
setup man. Yeah,
Right. Like
like
they're not in that situation again, so there's definitely more risk. I don't think it's as of today. I don't think they really got worse. I just think they have more risk. They didn't get worse.
yeah,
So the once again the realm of possibilities, the possibility of this falling apart is higher than in years past. However, I don't think that that is the most likely scenario.
hmm yeah. I will. I think the thing I love about the Central the most is that I I believe I said it earlier, but it's just fun to me now that like it seems like the tides are turning in
Mm-hmm.
the Central. Like Pirates are getting better, Reds are getting better, Cubs are back on top, while the Brewers and Cardinals are getting worse. At least in my eyes. I know you agree with the Cardinals part, um, but no, it'll be fun to hopefully see somebody else win this division outside of the Brewers.
Yeah,
And
I'm
hopefully
ready
it's the
for it.
Reds. All right, are you ready for your predictions?
Yeah, I am.
I, I'm making mine up on the spot, but it's I feel like I would have answered this even if I prepared this.
Okay.
All
I
right,
always
I'll
like make mine up on the spot too, just because like you actually sway me in some of the conversation, and like as
yeah.
I dig further and like think about other things, my opinion changes. So it doesn't do much use to prep them.
I usually write it down, and then if I decide to change, I just do it there. But so I'll start us off here. Starting in fifth, I feel like it's got to be the Cardinals. Um, but I do feel like if it's not the Cardinals, it's the Pirates, and they're going to be like 2 games apart from each other. Um, then I'm putting the Brewers third, Reds second, Cubbies win the division.
All right, so that's funny because we have pretty different views on certain teams, but I have the exact same order. So
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are the only team that got worse, and they ought to come in last for the abysmal offseason that they just had. And I don't think that they
You're so mad
stopped
at them. I
trying to
love it.
trade Nolan Arenado. So I kind of am saying this with the expectation that he's not around for the full year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Cardinals come in last, which is going to be glorious. Um, After that, I think the Pirates. I just don't think they have enough offense to like really make a significant dent in the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
division. However, I think the Pirates are going to be much better than the Cardinals. So
You think
you had
much?
them close. I think the Pirates are a lot better. Um, than we have. The Brewers, who I think they're still really good. I don't think they get to 93 wins. I think they get closer to like 86 or so wins this year. I think the Brewers and the Reds are very, very close, like almost toss up close, but I'll give the edge to the Reds because one, you have Ellie De La Cruz. Two, you have all the starting pitching in the world. And three, you have Terry Francona, who honestly is like what makes the needle the
Tito.
most for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have the Cubs winning, but I don't think the Cubs are as good as people think. So I think the division as a whole is a lot more wide open. And it's going to be a narrow division win down to the wire.
Yeah. But like to kind of my point that I was saying, I think when we were talking Pirates, like I could see the Brewers winning it again. I could see the Reds somehow winning it. I don't see the Cardinals doing that, but they do have. I mean, they do have underlying talent. They're just not that good. And
Yeah.
obviously, I don't think the Pirates probably have the worst odds to win the division, but behind that pitching, like it's not possible. Just they're going to have three guys just come out of nowhere on their hitting side of it.
Yeah.
Um. So when looking at Pacoda, do you have that pulled up at all?
I don't. You can read them to
All
me
right.
though.
So yeah. So they've got Cubs at. I'm going to round up on everything. Cubs at 92, Brewers at 80, Pirates at 78, Cardinals at 78, Reds at 74. Which one do you think is the most wrong, and in what direction?
Reds. Reds. Obviously too low. I think it's close to 10 games too low.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't think the Reds are just going to go nuts this year. Like, I think,
Mm-hmm.
I think we do have the possibility to, if everybody gets better. I'm gonna have to sneeze here very soon, um, but I do think that the Cubs are definitely the best team in this division, at least on paper. Um, I don't think I see them winning it by 12 games, like Pacoda's saying. I think
Yeah,
it's
no
probably going to
chance.
be more like 4 or 5. But I think I still have the Cubs right at 90, like we talked about. But then I just have Reds and Brewers being slightly better as far as record goes. I'd probably put the Pirates and Cardinals at mid to low 70s. I don't think either one's a 100 loss team by any means. Or, yeah, I
So you
think
don't have
I
a
don't think either
White
one of them's even
Sox
a 90
or
loss team.
I could see somebody getting the 90 losses. The Pirates had 86 last year. Reds had 85. Like a lot of 90 loss. The difference between like an 85 loss team and
And
a
that's
90 loss
72
team
wins.
is not that much. That's like you're out of contention in September and you're relying on your AAA guys to
Yeah.
get you to avoid 90 wins, like or 90 losses. Like I don't think there's a big difference between that. Um, I'm with you though. Like, there's no Chicago White Sox or Miami Marlins in this division. Like, the bottom end of it is still at least like a functioning MLB team.
Yeah.
So that will keep the division a little bit closer too, in and of itself.
What I think's funny about the NL as a whole, I feel like there's a lot of teams that are good and a lot of teams that are bad, and there's like nobody really in between. But if I had to pick a couple in betweens, I feel like I pick the Reds, Brewers, like Cardinals, like basically our entire division. But like I feel like the West, you got Dodgers. I mean, Padres are going kind of
Yeah.
downhill, but they're still really good. Diamondbacks good, Giants good. Like, and then you just have the Rockies who aren't good. And then the East, it's like the Nationals I can lump into that, but the other three teams, great. Marlins stink.
Yep.
So
Take me through
it's.
your playoff predictions for the NL
I thought we were
in
gonna do
terms of
that in
who
a different
makes it.
episode.
I know, but we did it for the AL of like who all is going to make it. Like, which of these teams in the
Oh, okay.
Central make the
So we're not.
playoffs?
You weren't asking for like all of playoffs.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah, just get me into the playoffs.
I haven't put a whole lot of thought into that, at least on how to describe it here. Um, but it's going to be hard, I think, for the Central to put two teams in. I think, like, obviously, I'm much higher on the Reds than the rest of the the world, but
world.
I think the Reds could squeak into the third wild card, or if the Pirates and Cardinals get really, really bad and we kind of beat up on them just to inflate our record, I could see us maybe getting a 1 or 2 wild card just because the Dodgers exist, so they're going to beat up on all the other teams in their division. The Braves exist, they're going to beat up on, maybe they won't beat up on the Phillies and Mets, but like those three are going to beat up on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of what I was getting at is that since there's no like middle of the road teams, it'll be very
Just being in the
interesting to
Central
see
helps
who
them.
makes them. Yeah. Like
I just
it's,
find it hard to think that the Braves, Mets, and Phillies, like I think all of them get in. Obviously, the Dodgers get in. I think Arizona gets in. Cubs get in. Did I name one too many teams? Like that's why it's hard
yeah.
for the Reds to crack into that in my eyes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I
Like
feel
those
like,
teams are just so good.
yeah, I think we have the underlying talent to do it. It just
Mm-hmm.
is guys actually putting that into the real life and making it happen.
So, do you think it's
God,
more
my nose was up
likely
running.
that the Reds get into the playoffs by winning the Central or by taking a wild card spot?
I would think the Central.
I would agree. Just
Yeah.
the top heaviness of the East and West is so extreme that like all those teams that are good are really stinking good.
Yeah. And
And
they're going to
I think
unfortunately
like
hurt each other by playing each other.
we both think the Cubs are going to win the Central, but like are the Cubs as good as the Phillies? I don't
Mm,
know.
I think they are. I
I
I don't know why you're so
I'd like
low
to
on the
think they
Cubs.
are. I mean, they won 83 games last year. They're pretty much a 500 team, and they didn't get
Yeah.
better. I mean, they got better. They didn't get significantly better. I don't know what moved the needle.
All right. All right. All right.
There's a lot of action to get there. So, like, yeah, the chances of them being good are better. They always tried, but like
I
the
think what moved
Phillies
the
are so
needle is,
good.
yeah, I think what moved the needle is that on paper, a lot of the teams in the Central got worse. Like the Brewers, I would say on paper got worse just by like even
Yeah, see,
losing
that's
Devin
just you
Williams. Like,
though.
sure, yeah, but I think that's what the rest of the world is thinking about as far as the
Yeah,
Cubs record goes.
yeah, I think that's fair. We'll see. Long season ahead, about to start on Tuesday. If this is
Yeah,
after
very
Tuesday
excited
that
for
you're
that.
listening to this, it already started. Go Cubbies.
Yes, it will most likely. I'm going to try to do it right now, but I would think it will most likely be after Tuesday. It definitely won't be Monday because the the game on Tuesday starts at 6 a.m. our time. So
Yeah,
it's not like putting it out at lunch is going to beat the season.
no.
Um, no, and I
That's
still
okay
need
though.
to get
If
the
you're
West out.
listening to this and the episode is a little less polished than usual, it's because we wanted to get it to you guys um, at the start of the season. So
Yes. It will 100% be out. I'm going to say this so that I have to stick to it. It'll 100%
wow,
be out by,
actual opening day.
for sure, opening day. I was going to say
Okay,
Friday. So 5 days.
okay,
I'm going to
okay.
make
That's
myself
pretty
do
good.
it. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, it's tough. I got to watch the whole episode. Um,
I know
just takes a
it's a
while.
long one too.
Yeah. I feel like we weren't polarizing enough. We didn't yell at each other.
No, we agreed more than I thought we would today.
Yeah, and I feel
Not that
like
there
our
weren't disagreements, but like we weren't like miles away from each other, which I thought there was a real possibility of, and that's
yeah,
okay.
the disagreements came on like 50-50 topics, not
Yeah, exactly.
some egregious stupid take.
I got plenty of egregious, stupid takes to keep people entertained.
Yeah,
So
same. And I don't know what side of the plate any batter hits on, so I'm sure you'll just make fun of me for that all year.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
get
getting
through it.
really
I mean,
excited for this season's coming around the corner. We got 11 days. So today's the 16th. 11 days, Jake, till
less for
we're
me.
back. Technically, two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
So since
We're
this
gonna
will
be
be
0-2
out,
though.
I was about to say, since this will be out after that 2-game series, what do you think about it?
We're gonna be 0-2 coming back to the States. We can't get people out right now.
What's
I
your run
don't think
differential?
that changes. Like -7.
Minus
I
seven?
think one game will be close. I think we get blown out in the game. I don't know which one. It's like I understand we have a Japanese player as well, but like their team is run by Japanese players. Like I just have to think that they have the advantage there,
Trying to
and
think.
they're just a
They
better
only have
team.
3 right now since they sent down
Yeah, they're
Haesung
three
Kim. Oh, he's not even Japanese. He's Korean.
like their three biggest players though.
Yeah. When fully healthy, probably their top 3 pitchers. I think Glass now fits in there somewhere. But
Did Teoscar go over to Japan for a year? For some reason,
I don't.
that sounds
I thought he
familiar.
went straight from Seattle to
He might have.
LA.
There's some. Yeah, he did. Okay. You're right. By the way,
I kind of forgot.
that's right.
Obviously, I just said that he went to Seattle without you
Who
saying
was
it,
it?
but
I think I'm
I kind
thinking
of
like
forgot
Eric
him even on
Thames.
Seattle.
Remember
Thames.
Eric Thames?
Yeah.
Like
What a
he came
name.
back for the Brewers and like hit a million home runs like right off the rip, and it's like he went to Japan and figured it out.
We've had a couple guys like
Yeah,
that. The one I can really think of is Ben Lively. I don't think he went to Japan. He might have gone to Korea, but I also could be completely picking the wrong player, but I'm fairly certain he did, and he came
Nick
back and was just unreal for
Martinez,
us. Oh, Nick
Japan for four
Martinez is
years.
probably who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yep, a lot of people figure it out there, but we'll see. Yeah, I expect to be 0-2 and behind the eight ball from the get go. I don't like that we're playing in Japan. We as in the Cubs. It's just a weird way to start the season. Like I want things to be as expected
Yeah. So
while you're still figuring it out.
how do you feel about the international like opening series as a whole?
I get why the MLB is doing it because they're trying to grow the sport, but I think a better way to grow the sport is by not having people cash out their 401ks to afford 15 different streaming services. Like make the games watchable and like grow the sport that way. Don't try to go capture something across the pond when like time zones and stuff don't make it friendly to watch. They're just making every game impossible to watch. It drives me
Yeah,
nuts.
I don't
Talk about a
understand like
soapbox I could get on for some terrible takes, probably that hopefully people find entertaining because I got a lot to say about that.
uh I'm trying to figure out what time that game actually starts in Tokyo. Looks like it starts at 7 p.m. local time there. Like I understand you don't want it to be like you want to maximize that crowd of people that are actually going to be there, but like that's not your market. Your market is here. Why are we putting
Exactly.
this game? Why are we putting the first 2 official games on at 6 a.m.
Create your
or
own league
3
over
a.m.
there
for
that like
people
the
in
money rolls up under the MLB, but like just have it be a different league.
like imagine being a Dodgers fan. Their games start at 3 a.m. for them
Yeah.
on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Like people
Yeah, I'd be
work.
pissed. I'd be pissed. Yeah, but
Yeah.
let's take some of like two of the best teams in baseball, theoretically, the best player in baseball, and make sure that it's at a time when nobody can watch it. It sounds
Yeah, I
genius.
mean, and I get it too. And
It's a Tuesday, by
uh,
the way. It's not like it's Saturday night. You can stay up until wee
yeah,
hours of the
watching
morning.
at the
Like people have
bar
work.
as the bar closes.
Yeah, like
Uh,
that's what they should have done. Like have it start at 2 a.m. on the East Coast here. Have it be like an early like noon game or whatever the time difference is in Japan, and then everybody can kind of watch it on the weekend if
yeah,
they wanted to.
yeah. Like if you started it at noon in Tokyo, that would be 11 p.m. Eastern, eight
Yeah.
p.m. Western. Like that's no different than I said
No,
Western.
now it starts at 6 o'clock Eastern
Pacific.
here.
That's no
So
different than
people
games
are
that
on
are
their way to
there
work.
to begin with.
Right. 6 a.m. does nothing for anybody. 6 a.m. Eastern time. People are getting ready for work. going to work. And then West Coast, it's like, I'm not waking up at, what is that, 3 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah.
to watch this on a Tuesday. Like, that's going to ruin my entire work week.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to get to work early Tuesday and Wednesday and just sit there and watch it while I work. But
Yeah.
like, actually, I don't know about that. That's a little too early.
Dude, it's a big
Um,
ask, isn't it?
yeah.
It's first day of baseball, though. I'll be
Inconveniencing
there.
us. First world problems.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I
It's
mean,
already,
I don't understand why this couldn't be later in the season. But anyway. Well, and
well,
I know
they'd be out for
I
a
think it's,
week because of
yeah, I think
jet
it's
lag.
funny too that, so I'm a Reds fan, but how Reds fans get so butthurt about that we're not the first game on opening day anymore.
Yeah, I don't think many people outside of Cincinnati care about that.
No, I'm just happy that we're always home.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's a
being
great
home is
tradition.
awesome.
If you're watching
Like,
this and
because
you're
I
not
can only
ever
imagine,
been to
like,
Cincinnati, like it is a huge thing in Cincinnati here, and it is
yeah, it's a
awesome.
big party. Yeah, people are filed up outside of the Red Stadium at like 9 a.m. It's great. Drinking beers already.
Yeah.
But no, can you imagine like not having the? Oh, I'm sure you can't imagine it because I'm sure the Cubs have done this at some point, especially with them not being as good when we were younger, like way younger. Uh, but can you imagine like your team starting off like 1-5, and then you have opening day, like your home opening day? Like that would suck. That's why I
Yeah.
love that the Reds are always home for game one because we have a nothing record. It's great.
It's a city holiday.
Just yeah, it should be an actual city holiday. I'm
For
excited
sure.
for it though. 11 days can't come fast enough.
I know. We'll be there before we know it. So
Yep,
we've gone too long here
I
post
agree.
normal
All
topics.
right,
So
it
I'll shut my
absolutely
mouth.
would be. So that was NL Central. We're very excited for the season. Hopefully, we'll have this out in a relatively good time. But I'm very excited for the new season to start. If you guys have any suggestions for things to talk about before opening day, let us know on the socials, which I will be getting some posts on Instagram here soon, or I'm just going to hand it over to you. But if you don't follow us on TikTok yet, go ahead and do that. Jake's running that account, doing fantastic with it, and we're growing faster than we thought we would, and we're only at like 20 followers. So, but yeah, feel free to go check all that stuff out. Give us a follow, like some of the videos, whatnot. It helps us out. But that
Yeah.
was Talking Central, and we will get to some more baseball topics in the next one.
Sounds good.
Got
Thanks,
anything to?
Quackers.
Yep. See you, everybody.